I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Happy Friday. Friday the 13th, you might add. It's tomorrow. When is St. Patrick's Day? These are basic things that you should know.
I think it's the 17th.
Always?
I think so.
Well, the St. Patrick's Day parade taking place this weekend. Big one, big celebration here in St. Louis for St. Patrick's Day. So
I was wrong. It's the 14th.
Okay, you're great. Thanks. We're big into Irish culture here. Irish St. Louis culture. Our YouTube poll for today, are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? It's already a hot one. And there's a lot of back and forth as to whether or not the steak and lobster purchase from Pete Hegseth is one that is worthy of sharing and of mentioning here. Now, the initial back and forth that took place on CNN that really blew this thing up into a big story is the question, first and foremost, is where is the steak and lobster going? Because if you're spending a lot of money on food to that extent, you might, obviously it would matter, I would think, where that money is being spent, where that investment is being made. Listen to this. I think you need to turn. Oh wait, it's muted down here. Hold on. When you listen to CNN, this guy, his name is Paul Begala, is on CNN, and thank the Lord for Scott Jennings for being there as well. He's sitting here and he's talking about millions of dollars that were spent at the end of the year on steak and lobster, and you got to wonder, where's all that movie going?
He has spent $15 million in 1 month for ribeye steak, $6.9 million for lobster tail, $225 million for furniture. He spent more in the month of September than most countries on earth spend in their defense.
Paul, do you believe
all for himself? Lobster tails?
Do you believe
while our troops are eating MREs?
No.
Tails?
Do you believe the Secretary of Defense is personally eating all the lobster?
Well, he
It's
can't
for
eat
the
16.
Troops.
Oh, really? The troops are getting lobster.
Frequently in theater.
Oh, my God.
Troops who are going to war.
Oh, my God.
Great meal. You know that.
They're getting lobster. You are so
You're
full of
going to
it.
get killed over this.
You're
You're
so
going to get
full
killed
of
over
it.
this. Internet, do something.
Narrator. It was for the troops. I mean, it's one thing to be wrong, and we're all wrong from time to time. I know Lord knows that I'm wrong from time to time, but he was wrong with zest in the way he presented it. He's like, "You're the biggest dummy I've ever seen. You think they were giving the troops steak and lobster?" I've contacted all the people I know who have served in the last 30 years to say, "Hey, how many times did you have steak and lobster?" And they all said pretty much right before we were going to get in the middle of it.
Ooh.
And that it was a, all right, we're about to ask you to do something crazy. Here's some surf and turf. Lots of stories that have come out as well on social media. Joey Jones is one of them, who came out and said, had just gotten done with a tough mission. He said that he and his troop mates there had experienced some close run-ins with some IEDs that day, and they came back and they had a picture of them holding a bunch of MREs. Little did they know that right after that had happened, that the cook came out, and guess what? They had steak and lobster to eat. So, I mean, you see, I think that there is a discussion to be had about the quantity of dollars, taxpayer dollars, that were spent. My understanding is maybe towards the end of the year, maybe they had some money left at the end of the budget. They didn't want to lose that budget. You don't spend it, you lose it. Everybody who knows anything about corporate budgeting understands the end of the year spend, where it's like, well, you guys didn't spend 5% of your budget. We're cutting that for sure. Whether that was what happened or not. There are multiple debates, reasonable debates, that could be had on the steak and lobster discussion. The first is, should we be spending taxpayer dollars on steak and lobster for our troops? And I say every freaking day. That's my opinion of it. Yours might be different. Completely respect that. The second could be about the way that the budgeting is done and the spending is done, that yes, we could spend it, but should we have this process with the taxpayer dollar on a massive budget like the defense budget, where we're just dumping money into things towards the end of the budget, if that's what happened here? We can have that conversation as well. But what can't be the presentation of this particular story here is that the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is eating like $15 million of lobster tails in a month. That makes you look dumb. That makes you look like I can't listen to anything else you ever say on this particular issue because you have such rage for these people that you were willing to bite, no pun intended, on the thought that Pete Hegseth thinks so highly of himself that he eats millions of dollars of surf and turf every month. Dude, you swung big on this one, and you missed. The pitch hadn't even been thrown yet, and you swung all the way around 3 times. Strike 3, you're out.
Conservatively, I think that equates, if it was over the span of Pete Hegseth's entire tenure as Secretary of War, I think it would be over 6 lobsters per day that he would have to eat
You a
every
lobster
day.
guy?
Oh, I love lobster. Heck yeah. You? No, you don't like seafood
Ryan.
at all, do you?
Oh, I don't like a drumstick from a chicken because it resembles life too much to put it in my mouth. I don't want to eat the thing that looked like it literally crawled onto my plate. No. But I won't eat, I'm not eating crab cakes. I'm not eating, what else does...
See, crab cake doesn't even look like crab. Well, I guess it kind of does in a way, but it doesn't look like the leg of the crab.
I'm just uninterested. There was probably a point in my life where if I were going to try these things, I could have ventured out and done that. At 41, I'm like, I don't want to, and I'm a grown woman, and I don't have to.
But what if...
Put the steak on my plate, though.
There's
I'll eat
an
that.
entire world of food awaiting you
No.
that you'll love.
It's not waiting for me. It's probably actually trying to get away from me.
It might be.
Yeah.
But once it's cooked,
you're
you
the
should eat
villain in this story.
it. No.
It's
no.
Not me, because I won't eat these things. The YouTube poll, are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? I normally put the poll up the night before. I completely forgot to do it. It is up now on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, so hustle up and vote. We will take, I really think I'm going to take some phone calls on this in the 1 o'clock hour.
Okay.
Bill O'Reilly is going to be with us at 1:05. I'm excited to talk to Bill O'Reilly. At 1:05, we're going to talk about regime change. We're going to talk about J.B. Pritzker. He came out and said that J.B. Pritzker was the worst governor in the nation, and I was like, my man. Bill O'Reilly, not J.B. Pritzker. So we'll talk to Bill O'Reilly about that. Plus, he's got a new podcast out. His first guest is Rob Schneider. He named his podcast, We'll Do It Live. And if that's not a boss move.
Wow.
Yeah, he was on with Glenn Beck yesterday or the day before. And Bill O'Reilly is sitting there talking to Glenn Beck about this new podcast that he has out. And you can absolutely tell, Bill O'Reilly has an empire. Bill O'Reilly left Fox News and kept BillO'Reilly.com going and has built an empire in a way that you see a lot of young newcomer influencers understanding, getting ahead of the game. Bill O'Reilly seemed to have the sense to get the right people in his orbit. He said in his interview with Glenn Beck that he has 60 employees. That's pretty incredible. I don't know that we have 60 employees here, but Bill O'Reilly, he's firing on all cylinders. And he said that his team was like, you need to do long form. You need to do a podcast. And he says in this interview and then in another one that I watched that he's like really offended by the word podcast. He might say this. I'm not going to tip him off to say this, but he might say this when we talk to him at 1:05. But he's like, podcasts are for people doing audio in their basement pajamas while they're smoking pot. That's like his line. And I'm like, I don't know that that's where he went with it. I think he's trying to take it in a different direction. But he wants to do long form. And he said, and so we said, we're going to call it We'll Do It Live. And then he starts to go into this story with Glenn Beck saying, now, Glenn, you might have heard. And he starts telling the We'll Do It Live story. And Glenn Beck says, Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck were on Fox News at the same time. Super high-rated Fox News lineup. When I started listening to 97.1 FM, when I was working at KFNS, I did sports talk for 3 years. I would go on my lunch break to this beautiful park in Webster Groves, and I would sit there and eat lunch or maybe just sit there, and I would listen on my lunch hour to 97.1. Which was conservative talk radio. No idea that I would ever even dream of working there, let alone it's lunchtime, and I'm now talking on this radio station, which even saying that out loud is kind of crazy to me. But I would go sit there and I would listen, and I think O'Reilly my recollection is O'Reilly might have gone up to like 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, and then Sean Hannity picked up for him or whatever. I remember listening to Hannity and Bill O'Reilly after Barack Obama won the election in 2008. I believe it was 2008. Yeah, it would have been, because I would have been working there. And I watched the O'Reilly Factor. My dad has read all the books. I've read several of his books. I'm going to ask him something about Pinheads and Patriots, which is the first book of his that I read. And I was reading that in the 2000s, early 2000s. But for Bill O'Reilly to have gone this entire time, having worked on the air with Glenn Beck and, of course, been in the radio business with Glenn Beck told Bill O'Reilly in their discussion that just took place this week, he goes, I've been told by everybody who I've ever been around, do not bring up Do It Live to Bill O'Reilly. And
really?
He's like, I really don't know what to do now that you're talking to me about it. And he's like, I think it's an incredible move to own it and to name your podcast We'll Do It Live. And I was thinking that too. Like, everybody knows the meme. I mean, that was a meme before memes were memes. We'll Do It Live. Pretty incredible stuff. So Bill O'Reilly's going to be with us at 1:05, and we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to be joined by Dinesh D'Souza back on the Annie Fry Show. It's been a minute. I'm excited to have him back on. We're going to talk about what the thing I appreciate the most about Dinesh D'Souza is his rich grasp and understanding of history, world history, American history, and his appreciation for it. Dinesh D'Souza is going to be with us. We're going to talk to him about the history of regime change. I'm also going to ask him about what's it like to be a member of the conservative influencer sphere, because right now there's a little bit of a divide in it. A lot of it centering around the war in Iran. Dinesh D'Souza on the Annie Fry Show next.
I'm Ted Dabrowski. I'm running for governor to breathe new life into our party and improve the quality of life in our state. Let's be honest about how we defeat Pritzker. Victory runs through the suburbs, and Darren Bailey is a disaster in the suburbs. To renominate him is to concede defeat. It's why Pritzker wanted to run against him 4 years ago and wants to again. Do you really want to experience these headlines again?
Governor J.B. Pritzker will serve another 4 years in office.
This was a resounding victory for Governor Pritzker.
The race was called just minutes after the polls closed.
Pritzker had a sizable advantage in Chicago and its suburbs.
I am the only candidate who can win the suburbs and end Pritzker's reign. It's why leading pro-lifers, American firsters, and conservative reformers support me. Republicans should always nominate the most conservative candidate who can win. That's me. I'm Ted Dabrowski, your conservative candidate for governor, and I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary on March 17th. Paid for by Ted for Illinois.
Hi, it's Mark Cox with Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Welcome back, Gloria. For years now, you've been on 97.1 helping families plan that next big move with your Guaranteed Sold program. For those planning to sell their home this year, what's your advice for sellers?
Thank you. My advice is simple. Do your homework before listing your home. Our market is stabilizing, inventory is tightening and moving fast. In other words, the realtor you choose to sell your home really matters. That's why my sellers love my Guaranteed Sale program. I guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. I have thousands of buyers in my buyers in waiting database, so your home may already been sold before it's ever hit the market. Higher demand, more competition, and more money for your home.
Friends, do what I did. Call Gloria Liu right now at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree upon price and possession date.
Okay, I have some really good news. While we do have the 0% a lot, we do have it on our regular products because you will be unbelievably shocked, especially if you call me and I'll give you the straight up scoop on how much money you can actually save by if you spent $20,000 versus $10,000 on a system. The difference could be as little as, I don't know, let's just say, not to exaggerate, 5 cents. So be careful out there, and always remember your energy savings is based on your house. It is not based on the equipment. So common sense advice and help and guidance. Again, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. 314-293-2600. Again, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, that is bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
Don't be afraid of your freedom.
Better Iran with great potential. It's a country with great potential. It's a much better future for Iran. It's now beginning. It's going to be, I think, a great future. And the United States will ensure that whoever leads the country next, Iran will not threaten America or its neighbors, Israel, anybody.
There you have the president speaking, President Trump talking about the efforts in Iran. And yes, what you're talking about, what the president is talking about there, is the change of the government in Iran, which is also known as regime change. Those are those buzzwords, those bold-faced words. We talked about that earlier in the week. And I came across a post from Dinesh D'Souza where he dives deep into the concept of regime change. And so I said, let's get him on the show again. So Dinesh D'Souza back with us here on the Annie Fry Show. Dinesh, thank you so much for the time today. It's a pleasure to have you back with us.
Annie, always a pleasure. Nice to join you.
Well, I think that words, I think the purpose of politics is to boil everything down so you get an emotional response with poll-tested words. Policy is mundane and layered and contextual, and regime change is one of those buzzwords. So if you are looking at a country like Iran that may seek to destroy the United States of America, of course, our allies in Israel, which would bring us into a war, that might mean that the government that's making those decisions needs to change. There's a difference between wanting to react to that and just pointing at a foreign country that's not treating its people well and sending American troops and resources into that country to say, we're going to make a change over here, right?
Exactly. There are many authoritarian, despotic rulers around the world, and we stay out of it for the most part. So there's no reason to intervene on behalf of regime change unless the country you're dealing with poses a threat to you. Now, with the Iranians, they couldn't be more clear about it. Debt to America is sort of like their charter slogan, and they've been at it for 50 years. Their whole regime is based on it. And in fact, a good deal of their antagonism to Israel is derived from their antagonism to America. They see Israel as kind of the satanic apostle that America has planted in that part of the world. Now, we got to remember with Iran that there was a regime change in 1979, which Jimmy Carter helped to bring about. He didn't cause it, but he helped it. He was an enabler. So he pulled the Persian rug out from the Shah, and that's how we got Khomeini. That's what gave radical Islam control of its first major state. And so any kind of regime change that would occur now would be, in a sense, an undoing of that earlier regime change. It's restoring the way Iran used to be prior to the Iranian Revolution. So these are ideas well worth keeping in mind when we think of a slogan like regime change.
We're speaking with Dinesh D'Souza. He's an author, filmmaker, host of the Dinesh D'Souza podcast. You can follow him at dineshD'Souza.substack.com. I was having an exchange with a friend of mine who sits on the other side of the aisle, and he made a kind of a snide comment about the no new wars president. And I said to him, I think it's debatable whether this is a new war or a very long old war. How is what we're doing in Iran different than what we might have seen recently, previous administrations, their actions overseas?
It's worth comparing Iran to the United States' involvement in Iraq and Afghanistan. A lot of the young people in particular who are hostile to this Iran expedition are sort of deriving the lessons of Iraq and of Afghanistan and saying, look, we don't want to get into that situation. But let's look at that situation for a moment. In the case of Afghanistan, the United States was completely right to go over there and eject the Taliban from office, because the Taliban had been the sort of staging ground for 9/11. They were actively involved. They brought all the terrorists over there. They gave them access to the monkey bars. That's where they trained for the whole operation. So the regime change completely justified. Now, the problem was with the aftermath, which was the sort of 20-year management of Afghanistan. We took on all these responsibilities we needn't have taken on. And the same is true with Iraq. Look, obviously there was misinformation regarding the weapons of mass destruction. But again, the regime change itself wasn't bad. The United States could have gotten rid of Saddam Hussein, installed some rival despot in his place who was pro-American, and that would be the end of the story. But instead, again, with Condoleezza Rice, with Colin Powell, this idea that, if you break it, you got to own it. We became the nannies of Afghanistan and Iran. That was the mistake right there. And so I think Trump has learned those lessons. In fact, he quite clearly campaigned on not doing the same thing all over again. His idea of regime change, I think, is much more surgical. It's much more an expedition that you do from the air. You keep your casualties down to an absolute minimum, and then you get out. And I think as long as he stays true to that, this is going to end up being a successful operation.
We're speaking with Dinesh D'Souza. What responsibility, if any, will America have to Iran then after the military mission of taking out their ability to threaten and harm Americans? What obligation will we have there?
None. In other words, what obligation do you have to a guy who's planning a home invasion of your house, and you go over there and disable his operation? You don't have to now take care of his family or do repairs on his house. You've immobilized a threat. You had every right to do it. Now, the good news, I think, in Iran, and this is also true of Venezuela, by the way, is that these are countries that have had a history of constitutional government. They have their old civilizations. They were prosperous once. They can be prosperous again. I don't have any doubt that the Iranians can run their own country. I don't have any doubt that what would follow the mullahs, even if we aren't exactly sure what it is going to be better than what is there now. So using these kinds of practical calculus, you realize that you don't have to try to figure out the path all the way forward. You just have to figure out the next step and then let things take their course.
Dinesh D'Souza is speaking with us. He's the host of the Dinesh D'Souza podcast. You can follow him on X at Dinesh D'Souza. There's always a lot to be made in the way we talk about what's going on, specifically in war. Of course, there's a lot of heightened emotions, and there's a lot of people looking to comment on that. And I even heard on, I think it was CNN, I don't have the clip in front of me right now, but we had multiple attacks yesterday that have very questionable motivations. And what I'm hearing on the leftist-driven media is, we can't just jump to the idea that this might be an Islamic-inspired terrorist event. There's a lot of dissension on the right with the conservative influencer culture right now, that a lot of people who are very anti-Israel, anti-Jewish. So before we jump to any conclusions, we need to really suss this out, see what the evidence bears out. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to comment right now on where the conservative influencer sphere is riding on this particular issue with war in Iran.
Well, it is true that there is an influential band on the right that is not only anti-Israel, anti-Jewish. It sort of started out that way, and now it has become, I think, rather dismayingly pro-Mullah and pro-Sharia and pro-Islamic in a way that I didn't quite anticipate. I suppose it makes a certain type of sense. If Israel is the root of all evil, then the guys who are fighting against Israel, including countries like Qatar and Iran, basically become more benign by comparison. But I don't think this reflects the mainstream of MAGA or the mainstream of the Republican Party. These are isolated figures, and each of them seems to have their own peculiar motivation or fetish. Now, I don't think that it's fair to blame those guys for these Islamic militants who are firebombing outside the Gracie Mansion in New York or attacking a Jewish synagogue. These appear to be Islamic radicals of a familiar stripe. that are motivated very much by radical Islam itself. In fact, they're motivated by their own understanding of the Quran. So this attempt by the left to sort of say, hey, listen, we've got this kind of dissension on the right, and so maybe that is the soil out of which these things are coming from. No, that's actually not true.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. We're speaking with Dinesh D'Souza. What's your guidance to people? You know, you study history, and you're talking about generations before and regime change and how we've done it and how we've done it wrong, and maybe how the president has learned from those opportunities to do this particular minor incursion, you might say, differently than we have in the past. How do people stay straight consuming the media, the influence that is coming out on this particular issue? How do they stay educated on what's factual to conclude to their own opinion?
Well, you know, the Bush doctrine took the neoconservatism of Reagan and took it to a sort of absurd extreme. Under Reagan, we had a lot of regime change, by the way. If you think about the end of the Cold War, it was one regime change after another, right? There was regime change in Poland, in the Czech Republic, which used to be Czechoslovakia, Romania, Bulgaria, and ultimately the Soviet Union itself. Russia is a different society now than it was in the communist era. So look at these multiple examples of regime change, and all of them, even Russia, worked out for the better. So if the United States is sensible, prudent, careful about the way it deploys force, judicious, plans its outcomes, knows why it's doing something, and has the resolve to see it through, you get basically a very good result. You don't have to go back to World War II, where, of course, the United States had positive regime change in Japan and Germany, and those two societies are vastly different and better than they used to be. So regime change actually has, interestingly, a rather glorious history, which gets ignored by people whose idea of history is only like 20 years old. And that's why I like to remind people of, let's just look at how regime change has turned out. It has sometimes turned out for the worse, but many times it has turned out for the better.
Yeah. And I have to ask myself, you know, the alternative, the president is looking at his options. The alternative to going in and making a very decisive and risky action, the way he is waging this war in Iran to take out their military infrastructure. Dinesh, if you look at what the options are in the alternative, I mean, what would the president be looking at? Still a regime that does say, as you said, it's their mantra, death to America.
Well, I think the reason that the Iranians became such a menace is that they were completely convinced that even though the United States has all this military firepower, the United States doesn't have the will to use any of it. The United States is crippled by having these effeminate leaders who are just paralyzed in their indecisions and face domestic backlash at home, and therefore really won't do anything. And by the way, this Iranian view was borne out by the passivity of a series of American leaders who acted in exactly this way. And some of them, like Obama, even subsidized what the Iranians are doing. So Trump comes in, and I think they think, well, this is another big boaster, and he's not going to do anything either. So what Trump has really proven is his resolve. And I love the fact that he never gets intimidated by reporters who are like, you know, well, what would you say if there are American casualties? And well, are you contemplating, sir, putting boots on the ground? And he's like, well, yeah, if we need them, I'll put boots on the ground. So in a sense, what Trump is doing is he's showing that he doesn't have post-traumatic stress syndrome from Iraq and Afghanistan. He has picked up the lessons from those ill-advised operations, but he nevertheless has this presidential resolve, which I think is very impressive to see. Because some of his own MAGA supporters essentially have now taken the view that America should not really have a foreign policy. What we should do is just turn inward and pay attention to things like fixing the roads and paying attention to egg prices and gas prices. And yes, the president has to do that, but a major job of the president, which, by the way, falls on his shoulders, it doesn't even fall on the shoulders of Congress or the courts, is to be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And I think Trump is taking that responsibility seriously.
Yes, it appears as though Iran made a serious miscalculation in President Trump's resolve. Dinesh D'Souza, we're grateful to have you on the show with us today. We look forward to having you back again soon. Thank you.
Annie, always a pleasure.
Take care. Bye-bye. He has a podcast you must check out, the Dinesh D'Souza podcast. You can subscribe on Apple Podcast. Go to dineshdsouza.substack.com for more of that. A very well-studied student of history, and I appreciate that aspect of him greatly. All right. We got Bill O'Reilly coming up in about 30 minutes from right now. Wiggins America, the bee or not the bee, in about 15 minutes. So keep it right here on the Annie Fry Show. Our YouTube live chat poll for today. Are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? Yes, it's the least we can do. Or no, it's outrageous spending. Folks, jump on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. You go to youtube.com/@AnnieFry and vote in favor or against the steak and lobster. What do you say about the surf and turf? We want your texts as well on the Annie Fry Show text line 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. Back in a minute. CiviaLaw.com. Have you reached out to Todd Civia yet? Well, if you haven't, that's okay, because I got an offer for you right now in this moment. The first 10 callers to reach out to Todd Civia to talk to him about estate planning, elder law concerns, long-term planning for your health care. You've got the right phone number. I'm about to give it to you right now. And the first 10 people to call this number are going to get their initial strategy session. That first meeting that you have, that fee is going to be waived. That's a $300 savings. Write this number down. Pick up your phone in this moment. You're going to save it as Civia Law, but here's the number to call. You have to mention my name when you make your appointment. 833-995-WILL. Call 833-995-WILL and talk to Todd Civia and his amazing team about setting up your strategy session to get that estate plan finalized. If you haven't had it looked at, if you've got one but you haven't had it looked at in 3 years or more, you need to have it refreshed, looked over. Todd Civia can help you with that as well. 833-995-WILL, online at civialaw.com.
The YouTube live chat poll today is, are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? Here are your two options. 1, yes, it's the least we can do. 2, no, it's outrageous spending. What do you think? Let us know what you think about this Friday poll. Are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? And one last chance on this show to win tickets to see Jimmy Fallon. That'll happen at about 2:30 in this time check in our 2 o'clock hour, so stay tuned for that. It is 12:38. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
When it comes to addressing the situation going on in the war right now in Iran, I find myself like my truest assessment of my emotion on it is, okay, I see what we're doing. It looks like we are achieving what we came there to accomplish, but I don't know how to look any further into the future. I don't know what the distant future holds for our country, and it does make me nervous.
Taking a step back from the news of the day or the weeks, Iran has a large contingency of very quiet, semi-underground Christians, and they have for a long time. And I just pray, and I know this is like beyond the news, but I pray that this ends up what they've been praying for, because it is multiple generations there who have been just under the boot and completely persecuted in their own nation for their religion. And I really hope that whatever this is all part of what they've been praying for.
Well, I'm certain that the Lord's will be done one way or the other, regardless of our action and inaction. I just think to myself that I asked my friend, I've been talking a lot about my friends who have been in the military. They just have such a different grasp and understanding of, what our military capacity is, strategy, asset deployment, all of these types of things. And so I am sitting here thinking about these things and internally reacting to it, but I don't have the context that they do. So I reach out to them and I talk to them about it. And I sent a message to one of my friends who did multiple tours in the War on Terror, went back and did security and that type of stuff after he wasn't being deployed actively anymore. He served in the Army. And I said, do you want to see the United States rebuild infrastructure in Iran after we leave? And the answer was absolutely not.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, it's the least we could do. We blew your country to bits. Going back to what Dinesh D'Souza just talked about here, though, we're not liberating those people. That's not what we're doing. The difference between a regime change effort for the sake of regime change and national defense, which is what I believe is going on here, Iran has worked tirelessly to be the peak playground bully of the United States of America, in that they threaten, they push you in the chest, they tease, they make fun of, they just work to make your life miserable all the time. And like recess is always coming and you're going to have to deal with it again over and over and over again, depending on whether the teacher, the administrator who's out there at recess, whoever is in charge at the time, they may handle it one way or the other. One might give the soft touch to the bully to try to talk him into being a nice kid, even though they're not going to ever be a nice kid. Donald Trump's just not that guy. And Pete Hegseth certainly isn't that guy either, but Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, serves at the pleasure of the president. His job is to execute the policy of this administration, of the commander-in-chief. And they're doing it decidedly. And that's one of the things that I appreciate the most about this, is there's no halfway about it. We're not making, our action isn't being engaged in a way that's supposed to persuade them to act differently. It's like you've misbehaved for so long at the detriment of life and limb of American citizens, troops. I mean, that's the one thing that I continue to hear from people who I talk to who have served. They're not looking at Iran as the threat that they are right now, or were 2 months ago, or were before we took out their nukes in June. They're like, Iran killed my friends. They know the names of people who are dead today because of Iran. And when you think of things in that context and you partner with the conversation we just had with Dinesh D'Souza, he said, if somebody were to threaten your life and your home and your family and your safety and security, and you took them out, you don't have an obligation to the person who was threatening and in some cases carrying out violence against you and yours, you don't have an obligation to neutralize that threat and then take care of everything that they left behind. Essentially, that person acting a fool and following through on those threats means that in your own self-defense, you must eliminate that threat. And the obligation is to the people who you're protecting, not the people who they were protecting. And I just consider that to be an interesting dose of perspective from Dinesh there when asking about, what is our obligation? And he's saying that we've done this wrong, that we went in, we took care of business, we got the bad guy out of there, and then we stayed and tried to be the nanny of a place that isn't our people with our money, serving people whose money is not in the pot. And that the nanny state that happens afterwards is where we definitely took a wrong turn. And then when I talked to my friends who are those who had served overseas, immediately after September 11th, in the years in that very active hot war, and I say to them, should we stay? And it's like, not even a thought. No, absolutely we should not. I find that to be an interesting dose of perspective. We want to think of things and, it's like you want to iron out the wrinkles on the tablecloth and you want everything to be set nicely and you want it to stay that way. And that's not realistic. That's not something that you can force upon people. I think Iran has the benefit of a people who don't want the government that was eliminated as well. So in that essence, they're on the same side as we are on wanting to see things change over there for different reasons, but different details, but the same reasons, I should say. So what happens next? I don't know. And that's where I feel a little fear creep in, and acting in fear is not a responsible way to engage in foreign policy. You have to have a plan. You have to have a contingency plan. You have to think all of these things through, which means that you essentially have to trust the people who are in charge. If you eat, sleep, breathe hating Donald Trump, this is going to be a really stressful time for you. And I don't wish that on you. I have friends, I have family who detest Donald Trump. I do believe that it's a bit of a sickness. But detesting Donald Trump because he's doing one thing or another domestically, it elevates that stress and that pressure that you might feel if you detest him and now we're at war. Because at the end of the day, essentially what you have to do is trust that he has a plan that is in the best interest of this country. I do trust that. If you don't, then this is going to be difficult. More difficult for you, because it's difficult for me as well. Our YouTube poll. Are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? It's all the talk these days. If you ask CNN, Pete Hegseth has spent $15 million on his own lobster tails. That is... my favorite memes that are out there are the ones where he's like 350 pounds.
I'm so glad that you're bringing this up right before we go into Be or Not to Be.
Okay.
Because I just so happen to be leading with a story that is related to this.
Steak and lobster?
Steak and lobster.
All right. Your text on the poll today as well. Your thoughts on the steak and lobster. 314-241-9797. 314-241-9797. Text us, keep it brief, and we will read those along with your YouTube comments throughout the course of the show. The Be or Not the Be with Ryan next. Don't go away. The Illinois primary. This is where your vote matters more than ever because it's where turnout determines which candidate gets to the ballot in November. Vote this Tuesday. It's for our Illinois residents at 97.1 FM Talk. Visit 971talk.com/events to find where to vote near you.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Cardinals single-game tickets are now on sale for the 2026 season. The schedule delivers big-time matchups, including weekend series against the Cubs and Dodgers, and visits from the Boston Red Sox. Add in a promotions calendar stacked with fan favorites like all-new giveaways, a Hawaiian short and shirt set, golf-inspired hat, dark mode jersey, and a whole lot more. It's Busch Stadium at its best all season long. Lock in your seats today at Cardinals.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Ton of feedback on the YouTube channel from people commenting on our poll today. Are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? Scooter says, no, it's wasteful spending. Look at when it was spent and why. Secretary Hegseth is not qualified for his position. Reply to Scoot on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Be or not the bee?
Be or not the bee.
The bee or not the bee.
All right, these are stories that are either real from a variety of sources or fake from the Babylon Bee. You got to tell me which is satire, which is real. First one, morbidly obese Pete Hegseth denies any knowledge of what happened to leftover lobster for the troops.
Got a little butter coming off of the side of his mouth. I say it's real, man. There's got to be a reason we bought all this.
Real.
Nah, this is definitely real.
The bee.
The bee. Quote, I, Secretary of War Peter Hegseth, have no idea what became of all those delicious, succulent lobster tails. Hegseth said in a press conference earlier this week, we wanted to do something special for our brave men and women who are serving our country. They ate like the kings and queens they are, and I have no regrets about it. As for what happened to the thousands of lobster tails that were left over, I have no comment on that. Members of the media present at the briefing reported seeing what appeared to be congealed lemon butter on the corner of Hegseth's mouth.
Ew, that's what I just said, but I didn't say it was congealed. That's a terrible word.
It is what you just said, and I wondered, how did you know?
But even the bee didn't have the audacity to say he ate all of it.
Yeah, the fake story is still
Can't
less
put that
than
in there. Nobody will believe it.
CNN. All right, next one. Multiple Bigfoot sightings were reported in one Ohio county, and they really think they've got him this time.
Sounds real.
I think it's the bee.
No, this is real. No. Yeah, Ohio residents are apparently reporting that there's a cryptid on the loose in their state. None other than the legendary Bigfoot.
Do people know like what Bigfoot is? I mean, obviously that's part of the allure, I'm sure, but is Bigfoot its own species?
Yeah, I think so.
We're not looking for the Bigfoot. We're looking for a Bigfoot.
Yes, of the Sasquatch genus.
Watch your mouth. I do not want to see Bigfoot's genus. Not into science.
Okay.
Go on.
I was going to make a different
Nope.
style of joke, but
No.
I can't rhyme it right.
Mm-mm.
I'll tell you off air.
I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah,
all that.
no, it's great. You're going to love it off air.
I'll go get water. You tell Brad.
Multiple independent reports of the allegedly mythical North American ape have appeared
Ape?
in he's like a cross between ape and man. He's like a more ape or a man-like ape.
So he's breeded?
I don't know whether they're breeding with anybody or not. I don't know who they would be.
They think he might be a non-extinct Gigantopithecus.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm not into science.
Fueling
I said I didn't want to
speculation
know about his genus.
that the Sasquatch is on the move. The witness that this story interviewed said it was clear that this was not like a bear that they see on their property. This is something way bigger, about 8 to 10 feet tall. And when they got back inside, their German Shepherd was literally shaking in fear. And that's just
That
one.
German Shepherd was a liberal?
That's just one
Literally
of 6
shaking.
reported Bigfoot sightings in the last few days in that area.
The German Shepherd have blue hair?
The German Shepherd was holding a sign that said "No Kings."
Kings was scratched out, said Sasquatch.
It was printed. How'd you print that so fast there, German Shepherd?
Soros.
Who's funding this? Next one. SAVE Act passes after Mike Lee cleverly changes its name to Give Congress a Raise Act.
The V. I saw Mike Lee's tweet on this, and it said, be right back, got to try something real quick.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's even funnier.
Yeah, he tweeted it.
All right, the story is now introducing H.R. 7296, the Give Congress a Raise Act, Lee said as he addressed the Senate chamber. I move for vote immediately without anyone reading the bill.
Wait, that sounded like legit sped up.
Thank you. It was Micro Machines. If you're listening on 2-speed, you're like, whoa! Your mind just got blown, literally.
Give it a shot, Mike Lee. See what you can get done.
It says that Chuck Schumer followed up by saying, a raise, hot dog. And he proceeded to direct his entire caucus to vote for it.
I think the dumbest thing that Chuck Schumer has ever done, and there's been a lot of dumb things, is putting that cheese on that raw hamburger on his grill and being like, look, click, click with the tongs. I'm one of you. And everyone's like, you should eat that right now.
I think I'd vote for Chuck Schumer of 1995, though. Because there's so
Chuck
many
Schumer
clips.
would not vote for Chuck Schumer.
Exactly.
Of 1995.
There's so many clips of him, and you're like, oh, that's not a terrible position to have. Let's see. I'm going to read just a little bit more of that one. It says, Senate Minority Leader John Thune blamed many for holding up passage of the SAVE Act, blamed by many, was quick to support the new bill, saying, quote, I will absolutely invoke a talking filibuster for this. Let's go!
We finally figured out how to get it done. All right, Senator Lee, like he said on his Twitter, be right back. Got to try something. Bill O'Reilly on the Annie Fry Show, next.
Those ads for life insurance, just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-529-2856, 800-529-2856, or biglou.com.
The Retirement Advisory Group, you know the names, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, Thomas Helbig. We've been wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience to be partners with them for so long here on 97.1, taking people exactly like you who are right there on that cusp of retirement and sending them along the way to the Retirement Advisory Group. First and foremost, you get to have a free conversation with them when you call them at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. You talk to them about where you are, what your dreams are, and what they're going to do is give you that key to your worry-free retirement. Retirement is not something you want to do if you've got the anxiety that, do we have enough? Will my nest egg last long enough so that I can have the retirement of my dreams? Well, this phone number and that free meeting with them, that's where you find out the answer to that question to ensure that that worry-free retirement is within reach. 314-993-9494, online right now at retirementkey.com.
Software engineer-manager for Equifax Incorporated in St. Louis, Missouri. To lead an engineering team focused on building and delivering scalable applications and services in the data and analytics space. Requires master's degree in computer science, information technology, engineering, or related field. Willing to accept foreign education equivalent. Plus 5 years of experience as a software engineer or related occupation in software development. Or alternatively, a bachelor's degree in computer science, information technology, engineering, or related field. Willing to accept foreign education equivalent. Plus 7 years of experience as a software engineer or related occupation in software development. Email resume to jobs.opportunities@equifax.com. Reference position number 501006. Software engineer-manager for Equifax Incorporated in St. Louis, Missouri. Requires master's degree in computer science, information technology, engineering, or related field. Willing to accept foreign education equivalent. Plus 5 years of experience. Email resume to jobs.opportunities@equifax.com. Reference position number 501006.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Down. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
We're hitting them harder than anybody's been hit since World War II.
President Trump telling the Fox Brian Kilmeade radio show Iran's missiles and drones are being decimated.
Secretary of War Hegseth says since the start of the war, the amount of missiles fired by Iran is down 90%. The amount of drones fired by Iran is down 95%. Also, Iran's leadership has been hit hard. The supreme leader killed on day one, and his successor, his son, has not been seen since.
Fox's Steve Harrigan near Armenia's border with Iran. The State Department just announcing a reward of up to $10 million for information on key leaders of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, including the country's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. A jury in Los Angeles now deliberating a landmark case accusing Meta and Google of designing Instagram and YouTube to be addictive and knowing that could harm kids' mental health. The companies deny it and argue in part that the plaintiff was not addicted. TikTok and Snap settled before the trial. President Trump suddenly part of the focus at a pretrial hearing for accused Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson, as the defense argues statements made by the president and others, including Kirk's widow Erica, have been prejudicial against their client.
Utah County Attorney's Office has argued the defense is trying to drag things out here, and moments ago the prosecution argued against the idea that the media coverage will negatively affect Robinson.
Fox's Matt Finn at the courthouse in Provo, where a judge has allowed cameras with restrictions for hearings so far. The defense today also calling alleged confessions presidential. A former New York State trooper just convicted of manslaughter at his second trial for the death of an 11-year-old girl during a high-speed chase. Prosecutors say the trooper rammed an SUV. The defense argued the SUV cut off the trooper as he pulled alongside. America is listening to Fox News.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion. That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words Micro. That's pound 250, Micro.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Partly to mostly sunny skies going through our Friday afternoon, 63. Tonight, partly cloudy, 38. Saturday, partly sunny, breezy, 66 degrees. Sunday, rain and some thunderstorms, windy and 69, and then a rapid drop in temperature early Sunday night. Throughout the night, we've got rain, wet snow, and then all snow, maybe even some thunder, 22 degrees. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
It is clear that he is going to use either ICE and Customs and Border Patrol with their uniforms and their automatic weapons, or he'll try to use National Guard to protect the polling places. And I have no doubt that part of that plan is potentially to claim fraud and to seize ballot boxes in order to count the votes himself. So he knows he's going to lose this election. And so he's got to find some fraudulent means to overturn what the voters want.
Well, sadly, that's my governor, J.B. Pritzker, talking. He knows all the things that Donald Trump is going to do, but if you're a resident of the state of Illinois like I am, you know how much J.B. Pritzker is obsessed with not just the president, but the presidency, and has left Illinoisans in the lurch while we fund highest tax burden, certainly with property taxes, among many others, in the nation. And I want to get to our guest, who really got my interest when he referred to J.B. Pritzker as the worst governor in the nation. Welcome back to 97.1, Bill O'Reilly, host of No Spin News and the new podcast that you are definitely going to want to listen to called We'll Do It Live. Bill O'Reilly, thank you so much for the time today on a station that you are familiar with, 97.1. It's great to have you back.
Right. Thanks for having me back, Annie. How you been?
Doing okay. It's a pleasure to speak with you. And, you know, you've had comments out there about J.B. Pritzker as a governor. Of course, his pursuit towards the presidency is a very public national one. What are your thoughts on his constant comments, criticisms of Donald Trump, and especially when it comes to elections here? You think J.B. Pritzker is going to be able to persuade enough people nationally to give him a shot at the presidency?
No. I don't think there's one chance in a million of getting that nomination. Mr. Pritzker is a political machine guy. He is, you're correct, obsessed with Donald Trump. Don't know the genesis of that, but he would be not a mainstream candidate for the Democrats to go to. They're going to have to pull back, Annie, from this radical left approach that they've embraced for the last year or so. You know, they are against voting IDs, they're against ICE, they're against closing the border, they're against Iran. I mean, you can't run a candidate or you'll get McGovern, like Nixon slaughtered George McGovern. And Pritzker is in that category. He is a radical leftist at this point in history.
Bill O'Reilly speaking with us, BillO'Reilly.com. I know that lots of you are familiar with his website and the No Spin News that you put out. I was watching a conversation you had with Glenn Beck, and you were talking about the war in Iran and about this President Donald Trump's initiative to go in and to get something done. And you made a comment in your conversation with Glenn Beck about how President Trump did the hard thing, that the easy thing was not what he decided to do in Iran. And I wonder your thoughts on this president's willingness, second term, not up for re-election, willingness to do the hard things. Is it the right thing for America at this time?
I don't know. I'm going to the White House on Tuesday. I don't know whether I'm going to have a one-on-one with the president, but often that happens when I go down. So I have to see how determined the administration is to tough it out. Obviously, if this thing drags on, he's going to get hurt politically in November. And then if he loses one or both houses in the midterm vote, this power really declines. So that has got to be a consideration. But when I said that the president did the right thing, you have to understand that threats are real when they're backed up. And when you have the United Nations coming out and saying, listen, according to our calculations, the Iranians are close to having 10 bombs, nuclear bombs. You got to take that seriously, Annie.
Yeah.
I mean, because they'll use them.
Yeah.
And so the intel from the USA and Israel and the United Nations led to a Donald Trump bombing last June, which was successful. But you can't expect every lab to be knocked out. And that's what he tried to negotiate this time around. And Iran basically said, no, we're not going to cooperate. We're going to develop the nuclear weapon. So what's your choice? Let them. That's what the Democratic Party wants. Just let them go. I don't think that's wise for the world or America, obviously.
We're speaking with Bill O'Reilly, host of No Spin News. You've got a new podcast out called We'll Do It Live. One of the things that I've always appreciated about you is the no spin portion of this. There's a lot of people trying to pull people's emotions to precede and lead them into, I hated Trump this morning, so I'm going to hate everything he does this afternoon, this evening, and then wash, rinse, repeat the next day. How do you feel as though this is playing out for him politically so far, choosing a tougher policy, a harder decision to go in and take the action the way he did? Do you think he's winning or losing right now, the political battle?
Latest Rasmussen poll, which is friendly to Trump, has it 50-50. The left-wing polls that come out of The Economist and CNN, they've got it a little bit skewed down, maybe 55-45. But Americans are essentially a fair people. They understand the danger of Iran. You'd have to. Any thinking person would have to understand. So you're kind of waiting. How much do we have to suffer? How much more do we have to pay for gas and food and all that? And then they'll make their decision. It's a waiting game. So the president, again, knows that. I assume that something will break in the next week, 10 days, and I'm praying that it's good for the USA. I'm not a political party guy, by the way. I want your listeners to know that. If there's a Democrat that has a problem-solving ability, I would certainly consider voting for that person. But this I hate Trump, so everything he does is bad, I mean, that is really immature and destructive to the United States.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I want to call back to a book that you wrote called Pinheads and Patriots that I listened to the audiobook years ago. And I think that I've thought about this a lot, and I'm so excited to be able to have this conversation with you because you came up with a phrase then that you use quite a bit, SPs, secular progressives. And I'm thinking back to listening to that book, and you were really changing the way that people, I'm a conservative myself, that I view the Democrat Party, but more importantly, the liberals in the Democrat Party. And you started to identify very early on that the direction that the left was going was different than that kind of classical liberal way of approaching politics. And you were spot on with that. I wanted to ask you as a follow-up to that secular progressive moniker that you gave them decades ago now. Do you feel as though that's run its course? Do you feel as though classic liberalism might make its way back into the Democratic Party at all?
Yeah, it has to, because the party is so far left now that it just doesn't have any leadership. It really doesn't have any solutions to problems. So Pinheads and Patriots got me and Barack Obama on the cover of the book. You still get it on BillO'Reilly.com. It's still in print. And what I noticed back then is the Tip O'Neills and the classic Democratic politicians coming out of the Kennedy family, those kinds of people were being overwhelmed by this progressive movement that kind of rejects all American tradition. So when you have an open border, I mean, JFK never would have sanctioned that. In a million years, that never would have happened. And I think many liberal Americans, Democrats, were not happy. But the media has enabled the far left. The media is very, very sympathetic to the far left, Annie.
Yeah.
And so you get favorable coverage of it on CNN, on MS, on New York Times, Chicago Tribune. They like the far left because they feel that traditional America is racist and, it's a bad country and we have to do a top-down change and white men are horrible and all of this stuff that goes along with the far left. The liberal media has embraced, where you don't hear them talk about the Fettermans of the world too much in Pennsylvania, more moderate Democrats. You don't hear much about that.
And isn't that where a large part of American voters really reside, a little bit left of center, a little bit right of center? The politics kind of becomes a hobby for the people who are super into it, but most of us are pretty moderate on the issues. It seems as though there should be a big appetite to win that voter back, but it doesn't appear that the Democratic Party is really making that effort quite yet.
Depends where you live. So if you live in Illinois and you're in Cook County, Chicago, you're basically a vote Democrat no matter what. You don't really care who is in charge. If there's a D, you're going to pull a lever for that. If you live in Springfield, the capital of Illinois, then that's not an automatic. It's not the same mindset. But generally speaking, we're developing into tribes in America. It's becoming tribalism. And each group has its philosophy. And it's about the money that basically defines the group. So the George Soroses and all of these big billionaire money people financing the Democratic Party, they don't give money to the moderates. They give them to the far left bomb throwers. And that's why you're seeing more and more of them. Because if you want to run every 2 years or even every 6 years, you got to have a lot of cash.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Bill O'Reilly is speaking with us right now, BillO'Reilly.com. And let's get into your new podcast, because I think this is where maybe the moderate kind of comes back into play. When you can have a longer form conversation. I know Rob Schneider, your first guest there on the We'll Do It Live podcast. You are a broadcaster now stepping into the podcasting realm. What makes you excited about this particular venture of all of the things you're doing at BillO'Reilly.com and on your No Spin News?
Well, I didn't want to do it. Number one, as my younger staff pushed me into it. And I said, look, we're doing great just running news programs out from Monday through Thursday. What do we have? And they go, no. There's a big demand that people want to see you in a longer form with it's more entertaining, get more. And I said, all right, we'll give it a try. I hate the word podcast because that conjures up two guys sitting in a basement smoking pot. That's not what we do.
That's not this.
Right?
You might get some people who want to tune in if you do that once as well.
Well, that's what Mar does.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't do his podcast because he smokes pot on a podcast. I'm not going to sit there and do that. All right? So I did a show because he doesn't smoke pot, but I said, hey, Mar, I'm not sitting there with you blowing smoke in my face. That's not happening. All right? But our long-form presentation, you can call a podcast if you want, is fact-based.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find, and we already have an unbelievable lineup. I just got done interviewing Steve Sciarippa from The Sopranos and Blue Bloods. And we're going to do Lindsey Graham Monday night, which is going to be very, very explosive because the senator is certainly a hawk on Iran, and he's got a lot of information, good information. But we're information-based. I mean, we're just not throwing out, well, what might happen here, maybe there's aliens there, and, I saw Bigfoot. We're not doing that. We're not wasting anybody's time. But the long form is definitely in. Our presentation goes all over the world, which is huge on YouTube. I mean, we did everywhere. And I think it's going to be worthy. I think people will get a lot out of it.
I really appreciate you taking the time to come on our show here in St. Louis, local radio. I've been in radio since 2006. I started 3 years in sports talk, and I would take my lunches at the local sports talk station, and I would go sit at a park, and I would listen to 97.1, and your show was airing. And I remember listening to the way you did radio. Of course, the O'Reilly Factor on. I was, in my 20s, deep into the news political world, so maybe a little bit of an aberration there. But I've watched your career from the time that I've been invested I'm 41 now. I've got 4 kids. My life has changed a lot in that amount of time. And if I could, watching you be so successful on YouTube, I watch you on News Nation. You talk to, the likes of Chris Cuomo and other people who come on there. They're incredibly fascinating conversations. It's different than the way I consumed you at the beginning of my media career. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are in the future of news coverage, because there's so much room now for politics and opinion. You've always been the no spin guy. What do you think about the future? What do you tell people who are consuming media? How do they stay diligent?
Well, I'm actually writing my final book under this contract called Confronting America, What Has to Change. And there's a bunch of media in it. And the problem with the social media is there aren't any editors. There's no rules. You can say whatever you want. And a lot of people just go on there and they believe everything that they read or hear. And they don't check it out. And it's not like when I was coming up, I had to be right. You could make mistakes. I worked at ABC as a correspondent, CBS as a correspondent, and then went over to Fox for more than 20 years. If I said something that was wrong or defamatory, I got called in.
Yeah.
We had standards that we had to adhere to. Those are gone. And the second thing is that, you're a woman who has been involved in the media since a very young age. Well, I'm sure you've seen the decline in the skill set of many national reporters and analysts. They don't know anything. It's shocking because I'm a historian/journalist. I bring in, we're the best selling nonfiction authors in the world. And I bring in a tremendous amount of fact-based, this is what happens when you do A. A leads to B leads to C. A lot of these other people who are working at very high levels, they don't know anything. and they don't know what happened in the 30s when you appease a government like Germany. They have no clue on how the United States was actually formed. They don't know. And that's shocking because it used to be only the brightest got into those positions. Now you have people who are in there and they are, let's say, shallow. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Very shallow. And the younger people don't seem to mind that. The older people, of course, do, and they'll watch something else.
Well, I think that a podcast like yours, the No Spin News, it's consumable, it's quick, it's very balanced, which is what fair and balanced, I guess you might say. The podcast, I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more. I know there won't be the pot smoking in the PJs, thus the allure of the We'll Do It Live podcast.
Yeah, I know. Look, I get the whole thing. I'm in the business more than 50 years. I should be riding around a golf course.
You could be
playing pickleball. Me and Britt Hume are the last of the boomer generation standing. And I don't know why I'm doing this, but I got 60 people working for me, and most of them are under the age of 40. That's how this podcast came about. They were jumping up and down. I said, all right, just shut up and I'll do it.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, that thing just wore me down.
Yeah. Well, way to own it. Way to take it. 2 hands at 10 and 2 there, and we'll be looking forward to watching it. I'm really excited about the next one, Blue Bloods. I recommend Blue Bloods to everybody. It's an incredible show. Sopranos, certainly, but Blue Bloods is one that can be kind of on with the family in the room. Sopranos, not so much. We'll be listening in for the next episode of We'll Do It Live with Bill Riley. Thank you for being with us today. It's an honor and a pleasure to speak with you, Bill O'Reilly.
Thank you for having me, Annie. I really appreciate it.
All right. Good luck and success to you on that podcast. BillO'Reilly.com, the host of No Spin News. He is very, very experienced and accomplished and consistent. That's the thing that I've appreciated the most about Bill O'Reilly is that the No Spin News, the way he's approached his presentation of news and media, he's right. He's experienced an incredible depth of knowledge. All of his books, the Killing books, Killing Lincoln, Killing Jesus, Killing the Killers, they're incredible. It's an incredible way to consume history. He's a great storyteller and very well researched in those books. And the newest, maybe for the young people, is kind of the way he proposes it there. The We'll Do It Live podcast. Rob Schneider, that episode is out and more to come. He called Lindsey Graham a hawk. I was thinking he's like the hawk's hawk. He's the hawk that hunts the hawks. The Lindsey Graham memes and comments that are out there right now suggesting that, like, Tim Burchett's comment, he's like, there's not a playground fight that man doesn't want to bomb. We'll see how Bill O'Reilly handles that conversation because, you know, he'll hold him accountable. BillO'Reilly.com. Grateful for him to be able to come on the show with us. That's a really cool opportunity to speak with him. All right, quick break. Are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? That's the YouTube poll for today. Yes, it's the least we can do. No, it's outrageous spending. Vote on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. It's in our live broadcast on YouTube, but you can text us your thoughts as well. We want to hear them. The Annie Fry Show text line, 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. Back in a minute. Is it raining in your basement? God, I hope not, but sometimes that happens. And if you need a person who you can rely on, who you can trust to come in and solve the problem, I know who that person is. Home Shield Foundation Repair, a locally owned business right here, grassroots in St. Louis, serving Illinois and Missouri alike. Matt Hayes, he's waiting for your phone call. If you have a basement leaking problem, I have a solution for you. And that phone number for Matt Hayes is 314-271-9900. 314-271-9900. Do not wait on another opportunity for that water to seep through your foundation, to get into your basement. It's causing all sorts of problems. You know, every time water moves through those cracks in the foundation, it's making the problem worse. Solve the problem once and for all at 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. You have a solution at Home Shield Foundation Repair. You can find them online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
This is Don Tracy, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approved this message. Election day is on March 17th, and I'm asking you to vote now because the American dream is under attack in Illinois. My Democrat opponents have driven up the cost of living for all of us and made life more unaffordable. Working families need a strong leader who will champion common sense solutions over far-left extreme agendas. I'm Don Tracy, running for U.S. Senate to defend the American dream. Learn more at DonTracyForIL.com. This message is paid for by Don Tracy for Illinois NFP.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. I'm with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage, and if you're thinking about refinancing, he has some great advice.
Mark, this is a great time to refinance. If you financed over the last 3 years, you're probably paying a higher rate. Take advantage now. Refinance with the Bagel loan. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, nothing. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. For those of you folks that are waiting on the sideline saying, hey, maybe the rates will go down more, I'm going to wait. Take advantage now. A bird in the hand's better than two in the bush. Refinance. Get the cash out you need. Get a lower rate. Maybe even go from a 30 to a 20 year and keep that payment the same. All with the Bagel loan.
And this is a quick process, right?
We close in 10 days. We send a notary out to your house to close so you don't have to take off any time from work. It's easy. It's simple. Bing, bang, boom. Your home is the biggest investment you're going to make in your life. Deal with somebody local, somebody who has a reputation, somebody who has accountability. I'm here in town. You can call me or text me after hours, weekends, whenever it's convenient for you.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
A night of live rock you gotta see. Foghat and Nazareth with special guest The Babies. Saturday, May 2nd at the Family Arena. Foghat, Nazareth. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Nazareth and Foghat live. Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me. Oh, but some girls do.
And Lone Star.
Every little thing that you do, baby, I'm a
Live this Saturday night at 7, the Family Arena. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Sawyer Brown and Lone Star together live.
This is State Representative Charlie Meyer. Southern Illinois is a special place. The farms, the families, our way of life. That's what I'm fighting for in Springfield, standing with Trump, fighting for lower taxes, supporting our farms, and protecting life in our Second Amendments. My family has lived in Southern Illinois for 6 generations. I won't stop fighting for the place I love. I'm Charlie Meyer, and I'm honored to earn your vote on March 17th. Paid for by Citizens for Charlie Meyer.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
I'm not like suggesting anything, but I think I've come up with the best job for you, Ryan. If you ever want a career change.
Is it
or forced into
some
one.
sort of taste tester of delicious things?
There is it involved food.
Does it?
I was filling my water up in the cafeteria out there or whatever, and we have a television out there. Now, you would think that like 97.1, you got KMOX here, the hard-hitting news that Y98 covers. You'd think that we would have news on out there of some kind. But what we actually have is soap operas.
Yes, we do.
And I always get so easily distracted and enamored with people that are extras in scenes that are in the background and they're supposed to be eating.
Oh, yeah?
Because they don't ever eat.
Really?
They're supposed to.
I knew that.
Well, you're not paying attention to them.
No, I'm not.
That's what the point is, that like if it's a restaurant scene or if it's a diner scene or if it's a party scene and you got people in the background, because that's not the focus. But what do? I'm always like looking around the characters in the scene so that I can see what other people are doing. And sometimes, especially, no shot at anybody who's listening right now who's a soap opera actor or actress.
Okay.
Kind of low rent, right?
I think you're safe.
But I mean, a daily production like a soap opera, you got to turn and burn.
Oh, yeah. That is recycle, rinse, repeat.
Yes. Well, they're in, I don't know which soap opera it was. Well, maybe it's the one that's in here right now, too.
It was Beyond the Gates.
But he looks too old to be kissing her.
No, he's not. They're all too old to be doing anything.
Okay. I think they're about to do something. There's a man in the background of this diner scene, and he's kind of a heavy-set guy, and he's just sitting at a diner with a plate in front of him and a coffee cup, and he's just supposed to be looking like he's eating. But they don't ever actually eat. Because, they go cut. Like, you don't want to have somebody who's having to make them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches like, I went through 6 today, George.
Eating a full horseshoe.
But I'm just thinking about you getting hired for that job, and you're just like, man, free food. And you're in the background of every scene in a soap opera or in a sitcom or something, just like shoveling food, and then you'd steal the show. You'd be that guy. You could be an internet sensation. You just need to do it in like 3 separate productions. And then food places would want to sponsor you so that you could do food reviews or taste food or see how fast you could eat a horseshoe or something.
Oh, heck yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah.
No, I meant like a slinger. That's what I was thinking
that's
more.
like a retirement plan
Something
for you.
like a 5-layer chili from Steak and Shake or something. Something that's got a lot of food to it.
That sounds terrible.
All over the place, and I'm just like, bleh.
I'm just telling you, in the future, watch people in the background of, I mean, if you're watching a top tier epic level production, person in the background's probably not completely fake eating. They're still fake eating. They're probably just like super professional about it. Or here's the other thing they do in these scenes. You've got a plate of food and they take their fork and they just like move the food around obnoxiously.
Yeah, like a little kid.
We got to move this over here and get ready to get a bite. And then they talk with the food on and then it cuts away. And then when they come back, they're moving said food around again because they probably have to shoot that scene multiple times, potentially.
I don't know, with a soap opera. I mean, it is run and gun.
Yeah.
It is every day. So
Kinda
that's
wanna
actually
go back
the way.
and see if that guy's actually eating that food right now.
That's the place to do it, is something that has to turn it fast. Because if you're in a movie, they just be like, get out of here.
I just imagine like these two people are sitting in a booth and you can see through them in the camera to the little bar diner thing. And this guy's got a sandwich and a coffee cup. And I could just see you sitting at that bar, just like shoveling food in your face and like peeking around and looking directly into the camera.
Oh, yeah, looking directly
Like,
at the
can you see
camera.
this?
Like mouthing the words, I need less utensils. And just picking up the plate, just pouring it into my face.
Oh, man.
And acting like I'm talking as fake as possible.
Kate says on YouTube, and then when they're talking, they're just saying peas and carrots, carrots and peas. So it looks like they're talking. Peas and carrots.
Really? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I've heard watermelon cantaloupe because that makes your mouth do all the different things if you say watermelon cantaloupe. It looks like you're talking.
Interesting.
Watermelon, cantaloupe, peas and carrots, carrots and peas.
I always would do boots and cats.
I wonder if I do that on the radio, if it would sound like filler. Is that different?
It is different.
All right, let's take a quick break. Ethan, sports and local next. We got big local news in the sports department. Ethan will give us the latest here in just a couple of minutes. Text us at 314-241-9797. Your thoughts on today's YouTube live chat poll. Are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? Your vote at youtube.com/@AnnieFry in the live chat. And your thoughts there or at the text line. We'll feature some of those this hour as well. Back in a minute.
This is Madison County Clerk Linda Andreas. I believe in protecting our elections because every legal vote matters. I fully support the SAVE Act, which requires photo ID in our elections. And I am proud to be endorsed by all of our countywide Republican elected officials. I'm asking for your vote in the March 17th Republican primary.
Paid for by Citizens for Andreas.
License number GL2500615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Two sounds that can wreck your sleep. A drip and a toilet that won't stop running.
Drip, drip, all night.
Good news. We're doing plumbing now. Same folks, same care, same we do it right.
Leaky faucet, running toilet.
Or a stubborn clog, call Grasser.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people.
Injured? Dial pound law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
The team at Ricken Financial want to help you make educated and informed decisions about your retirement strategies.
Why not rely on individuals who can optimize your thinking and optimize your plan and optimize all the resources and show you what's all available to be able to make a truly informed decision?
Call Ricken Financial today, 314-207-6211 or online at rickenfinancial.com and join us for Kickin' with the Rickens, Sunday at 1 p.m. here on 97.1 FM Talk. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Jimmy Fela is coming to the factory on April 11th. You want to win free tickets? Well, then stay here because we're going to do that in about an hour. Sorry, I didn't mean to bait and switch, but I kind of did. It's April 11th. It's a rescheduled show, but you got to win free tickets by listening to all of our shows here, the Annie Fry Show, and then Mark Reardon will have one more chance as well. This is the last day that we're giving away these free tickets, though. So stay tuned. 2:30-ish when we do the time check. That's when I'll tell you when to call. It is 1:36 right now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. Consistently right.
It's a ritual.
97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Hold up. Check it out.
Sports and local. Ethan Hannaford's segment on the Annie Fry Show. Ethan Sports and Local is sponsored by All Financial.
Fancy.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, need some fancy like string music, you know.
That's great.
Is this do you think you could work on that? Put some strings under this instead of that music?
I'm done.
They're done. Okay. Well, thanks for doing what you did. I mean, honestly, it's more than I expected you to do.
You're welcome.
So I appreciate that.
Shots fired. No, I appreciate that.
St. Louis now leads the nation in people living alone.
No.
According to a new U.S. Census data compiled by the New York Times, St. Louis has the largest share of solo living households, 48%. And solo... What'd you say?
Sad? Is that sad?
Yeah, it's sad, and it makes no sense. Why
Well,
here?
Doesn't it?
I mean,
It's also just expensive.
I've heard that St. Louis is supposed to be a destination for young single people. So if young single people are coming here, because it's more affordable compared to other metropolises.
Metropoli, of course, naturally.
Yes, if you look into other metropoli,
Mm-hmm.
it is a little pricier in some of these other places that St. Louis is supposed to be affordable. So you hear a stat like that, this is how you do politics. You make it a positive stat because there are people flocking here who are young and single who are looking to match up, and that is why St. Louis is the best city in the world.
Okay.
That was a lot of spin.
I took it a little extra.
Is that true, though, that we are a destination for singles?
I've heard that, and I remember it because I thought, really?
It was just last year that we were voted by some random page as the best place.
CareerAddict.com.
It may have been.
Your
It really may have been. But we were voted as the best place in the country to live for singles.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
I
glad
want
you
to say
remember
I
that, 'cause-
reported this like last fall or something.
Yeah.
It was a while ago, but I did report
I don't
this at
forget
one
an
point.
Ethan's Sports and Local segment. Locked in.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well,
Don't really like your tone.
largest share of solo living households at 48% and solo living population 24% among U.S. cities with a population of at least 50,000 people.
You know why our cost of living so low?
Why?
Mike Kehoe.
Thank you, Governor Kehoe.
Thank you, Governor Kehoe.
I appreciate the work you're doing for the single population of St. Louis. Oh, God, that was so sad. That was so depressing sounding.
The bell's not working
Oh,
again.
man. Okay, all right, next story. Hey, there's some exciting St. Louis sports news going on.
There is.
Billikens are moving on to the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament semifinals.
We all wore our blue today that support the SLU Billikens.
Except for Ryan.
Well, as I said.
I'm going to a Bananas game tonight.
You know, actually, now that I look at the logo for the George Washington Colonials, that kind of matches the color you're wearing.
Yeah, navy and yellow.
Colonials fan?
I thought we were doing St. Louis Blues.
George Washington,
And
more like Benedict
I was
Arnold.
doing the accent. I
Nope.
was doing the accent for the Blues.
Nope. The Blues, despite Ryan wearing the opponent's colors, won this morning's contest by a final score of 88-81.
Led the whole time, dominated the game, was in charge, in full command.
No, not quite. At one point, they were actually trailing in this game by 21 points
Ruh-roh.
with 6 minutes remaining
Ruh-roh, George
in
Washington.
the first half. According to Frank Cusimano, it's the biggest comeback in SLU history. I don't know
Boom.
if that's true.
Wow.
So they were just showing
I
off.
think that's what the tweet said.
Just giving the
That's what-
people a little something.
If that's not true, I'm blaming James out there because he told me that.
Another fun
Frank tweeted
fact,
that.
Billikens is short for Williamkins.
Did you know that
I hate it when it's funny.
the ultra the ultra plural of Billikens is Billikai?
I did know
From the
that.
metropoli of St. Louis County cities.
Said I, Annie.
I'm here to learn.
Well, that's what we do here.
Ryan
Ryan is literally gone. Ryan literally had to leave.
Get your act together.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever done that to him. I'm so proud.
I think he might have just forgotten how to breathe.
I think so. At that point in the game, when the Billikens were trailing by 21 points, they had a 10% chance of winning, according to ESPN Analytics probabilities and game flow. So quite the comeback today for SLU. They win by 7 points. They will play the winner, I believe, of St. Bonaventure and Dayton. Who
Probably not the loser.
No, probably not. They'll play the winner of that game tomorrow at noon, and that game is going on right now. You can watch it on USA Network. The Mizzou. I think I mentioned that Mizzou lost in the SEC tournament yesterday. They lost to Kentucky, 78-72 final score, if I recall correctly.
Kentucky. Who likes Kentucky?
No one.
Nobody.
No one likes
Nobody
Kentucky,
likes Kentucky.
except for Mark Cox.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a
that's right. I
big UK fan. This is kind of interesting. Mizzou is kind of on the bubble right now, Annie. So if because Mizzou has lost several games in a row, they're in a little bit of a tough spot, and they need some things to go right probably to get in. And one of the biggest implications of if they get in is if SLU wins this tournament, because there's probably only going to be one team from the A10 that gets in if SLU wins, because
SLU winning helps Mizzou.
Yes, because if they don't win the tournament, then someone that wouldn't have gotten in as an at-large will have to be in the tournament as well, which would be one less spot. So that could really potentially hurt Mizzou. So for Mizzou fans out there, be cheering for the Billikens to win the A10 tournament, because that like I said, that could have big implications.
You did say it would be big implications.
Implications. So bad.
Ryan's back. How you doing, man?
All right. It's been a while since I lost my cool like that. But I think I'm all good now. I got a cough drop.
Did you come back as cool guy? What's the deal there?
I'm doing a little finger gun. What's up, guys? Hey, what did I miss? Hey.
That is literally going to go on my resume that I made Ryan Wiggins have to leave the studio. In other SLU news, they announced...
We call that slews?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sly.
That's if there's multiple stories.
Right. SLU Nye.
Ryan, you don't talk. You just be quiet.
Multiple
you just sit there.
SLU news stories is shortened to Sly.
Or SLU Nye.
SLI.
Or SLU Nye, whatever you prefer.
I'm going to get hate mail for Ethan not being able to get through. And I'm piling the hate mail up. So let's get to it.
Hate mail's great, though.
Okay, this is important news. This is also important news for SLU. Okay?
we're all, you got our attention, man.
Head coach Josh Schertz has agreed to a long-term contract extension to remain the head coach of St. Louis University Billikens men's basketball. Well, that's what you were thinking. We're assuming that he got paid. We haven't
ponied up. That's nice.
We haven't seen any sort of numbers, years or dollars yet. They have not been disclosed. But SLU athletic director Chris May confirmed the extension. It was first reported by Stu Durando of the Post-Dispatch before the game this morning, and he kind of teased at it last night. Josh Schertz did on Twitter when he posted the big eyes wide emojis. So very deserving. In 2 years, Josh Schertz has a 46-19 record with SLU, and this year they are now 28-4.
Not too bad.
And also won the A10 regular season title. So congrats to Schertz. Congrats to SLU. This is a massive, massive win for the Billikens basketball program.
Do you feel like SLU wants to get out of the A10 and join like the Big 42 or however many are in there now?
There's been talks about them potentially moving up the conference that...
Because it doesn't seem like that's going to happen without a commitment from a coach like this who could perennially say, we need better than
Unless
this.
you get a coach like this, you're not probably going to build that consistent winning program. Now, one of the things that is being rumored is that one of the reasons he's willing to stay, because he was getting bigger offers. Kansas State offered him, and they were just an Elite Eight team a couple of years ago, is that SLU's going to put in a little bit more money to the NIL so for them to be able to continue bringing in really good talent. So that will certainly go a long way for Schertz and the Billikens.
If Josh Schertz ever left, they'd have to turn to assistant coach Jimmy Pants.
Oh, God. I would have bet the entire show. I would have bet my career that there was going to be a clothing joke about something here.
Or we'd have to go with maybe Bill Coates.
I like Jimmy Pants more.
I like Jimmy Pants more, too.
Good call.
Yeah.
You made the right choice.
Thank you.
Made the right choice. So the Billikens will play the winner of St. Bonaventure and Dayton tomorrow, Saturday at 12 o'clock. Game on KMOX. The St. Louis Blues cannot stop winning, and it is pissing me off.
It's amazing. It really is getting to the
you
point
just
where
can't make it up.
Can they still make the playoffs?
They are 5 points out of the playoff spot right now.
Talk to me like I'm Annie. What does that mean?
It means that they're closer. It means they're closer to the playoffs than they are to having the number one pick, the highest odds for the number one pick.
I think really what we've learned here is you should have been having a bad attitude a lot sooner.
This is ridiculous.
We'd be leading the league.
Now, I've had a bad attitude all year long. My My desire for them to win is what changed. I've been pissed about the Blues all year. They beat last night the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1. Carolina has the third best point total in the NHL. It's a really good team. Jimmy Snuggerud scored twice for the Blues. Jordan Binnington was phenomenal. Saved 31 of 32 shots in total. And, the Blues are now 5 points out of a playoff spot. They're still, near the bottom of the league in total. I think they're still, have the fifth least amount of points, but because of the way the conferences work and the divisions work and the wild cards, they're actually still in the mix here, which is absolutely insane to think about. So it is good to see them gelling well together. So we'll see if it
is it. Is it?
Yes, it is.
Admit it.
It is. No, it is.
Say, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Get the dub.
I will be there tonight.
You
I'll
gonna
be covering.
Cheer for the Blues?
Yeah, I'll be pulling for the Blues. They play the Edmonton
hesitation.
Oilers. Big game.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid in town.
Yeah, I'll be cheering for the Blues.
I'll be there. I'll be covering for STL Sports Central.
You gonna be holding up a sign that says first round draft pick?
No, I don't think that they would appreciate that in the press box, but
just do it and then sign it Ryan Wiggins.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Of the Mark Cox Morning Show. We'll be back in a minute. Don't go away. AirComfortService.com, 314-513-0091, the number you need to have in your phone for the intention and purpose of that emergency call that you don't really ever want to have to make. So, yes, this is a number I want you to save so that you don't ever have to use it. How's that? If you have a loved one whose home you help maintain, you own it, I'm always thinking about mom and dad that might be staying in a house by themselves, and when the weather gets crazy, you want to make sure that everything is still functioning correctly. If you have to make an emergency call and you want to be able to trust the people who are coming over to do right by you, to offer you solutions that are the correct solutions and not just make you wonder, are they trying to put me on the take here? Air Comfort Service, you can trust them. I have had them at my home. I've had to make that emergency call that you don't want to have to make, but when I did, I knew that I was working with people who I could trust, and that's why I want you to give them the opportunity to do that as well for you. 314-513-0091, 24/7 emergency service, aircomfortservice.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me for the annual Lincoln Trump Day dinner with the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee, March 20th at Old Hickory Golf Club. Enjoy dinner, great guests, and a gun raffle. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
If you live in Missouri, have Medicaid, and need a caregiver, this message is important. Care at home is personal. That's why you may not want a stranger in your home to take care of you. You want someone who already knows you and your daily routines. With Freedom Care, you choose a trusted family member, a friend, or a neighbor. They will get paid after every shift to care for you, and it's 100% free to you. More than 70,000 people have already joined the Freedom Care family. Call your local Freedom Care. They'll check your Medicaid eligibility. Don't wait until a stranger shows up at your door. If you have Medicaid and need help at home, this care is available 100% free to you. Call Freedom Care now to see if you qualify. 314-343-1362. 314-343-1362. That's 314-343-1362.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We've had a great show. For Friday, we don't always have as many guests, but today we spoke with Dinesh D'Souza in the 12 o'clock hour, Bill O'Reilly in the 1 o'clock hour. And I said this to you guys off air. I don't really get nervous to interview very many people. I was nervous to interview Bill O'Reilly. I've paid attention to him for a very, very long time. And I've heard him do interviews where he gets his presentation is just, it's kind of like a no-spin interview. There's a little bit of flattery that can kind of go in an interview back and forth just to make everybody feel comfortable. He doesn't do that. I respect him for it, but I didn't want to make him mad. I don't think I did.
It was a good interview.
Thank you.
Was that the first time you've ever interviewed him?
I don't know. It might be.
I've interviewed him on your show one time randomly, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I know that there was... because he's kind of gone in these ebbs and flows of things he's been doing in his career. And it's, does he have something to promote? That's generally speaking, a lot of guests, bigger name guests will come on the show. We have a connection with Fox News, so we get a lot of great Fox News guests because we are St. Louis's Fox News radio affiliate. So that's that. But sometimes we'll get a heads up like, oh, someone has a book out and they want to talk. We had Shannon Bream on earlier to talk about her book that came out on March 10th this week. And so we have Shannon Bream on the day that the tariff Supreme Court decision came out. Well, we get to do that because we're a Fox News radio affiliate and we have that connection, which, in my opinion, gives us the opportunity to bring you the very best news, politics, culture, opinion coverage in St. Louis due to that partnership. But like a Bill O'Reilly, he's kind of he's on his own in a way that is, I would assume, what most journalists would like to do at some point or another, be in charge. He said he's got 60 employees. That's a lot of employees.
That is a lot.
It seems as though you wouldn't have to have that many, but he has a lot of things. He's got a lot of irons in the fire. But he doesn't, Bill O'Reilly doesn't need the Annie Fry Show in St. Louis. There are people who might be podcasters, influencers, whatever, and they need the constant drum of attention in order to stay relevant or to grow their relevancy. So they'll do a lot of different hits on different things. Bill O'Reilly doesn't need that, and he approaches the interviews as such. So I was nervous going into that interview, not just because of how successful he's been. I've been paying attention to him for decades, but also I was like, gosh, if I suck at this interview, he's probably going to tell me. And I'm going to do that in front of everybody. Make me nervous.
You know what? The most nervous I ever get, and maybe this is why you just got this way with Bill O'Reilly, is when you interview other really accomplished media people.
That understand the like anatomy of an interview.
They know whether you're cheesing through it or whether you're good at it.
A lot of interviewers, too, will have, and I understand why if you were in Bill O'Reilly's shoes, this would just be so annoying. But I think a lot of people in our industry have a Bill O'Reilly on, and you spend the whole time trying to impress Bill O'Reilly. And if Bill O'Reilly can tell that, he's going to embarrass you.
That too. That too. And he would say it.
Yeah. He's the type of person who would be like, come on, Annie, you're better than this. And I'd be like, I don't think I am. So it was good. It was a good interview. I didn't feel like I, what would you say, embarrassed the family. Check the interview and tell me?
We got to find out from your family.
Yeah. Bill O'Reilly is like my dad's hero, which I was going to say, but then I thought that might be disrespectful to Bill O'Reilly to be like, my old man loves you. Ask us anything in the next hour. Don't go away.
Is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
This is State Representative Charlie Meyer. Southern Illinois is a special place. The farms, the families, our way of life. That's what I'm fighting for in Springfield, standing with Trump, fighting for lower taxes, supporting our farms, and protecting life in our Second Amendments. My family has lived in Southern Illinois for 6 generations. I won't stop fighting for the place I love. I'm Charlie Meyer, and I'm honored to earn your vote on March 17th. Paid for by Citizens for Charlie Meyer.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and it might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you that we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. It's what I would put in my home. It's what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
U.S. forces heading to the Middle East. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Pentagon approving about 5,000 Marines and sailors to be sent to the region. A U.S. defense official confirming to Fox News they're part of the USS Tripoli, a Marine amphibious ready group stationed in Japan. The Pentagon confirming earlier today all 6 crew members were killed during a mid-air mishap involving 2 refueling planes over Iraq last night.
The incident occurred over friendly territory in western Iraq while the crew was on a combat mission. And again, was not the result, as CENTCOM has said, was not the result of hostile or friendly fire.
Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane at a briefing alongside Secretary Pete Hegseth, who says the number of airstrikes in Iran will keep going up.
President Trump holds the cards. He'll determine the pace, the tempo, and the timing of this conflict.
This a day after a defiant written statement from Iran's new supreme leader. Vice President J.D. Vance in Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
I stand here proud to say that after the first year of President Donald Trump and congressional Republicans' leadership, we are rebuilding the American dream, and we are taking back this country for the people of this state.
Arguing in part the tax cuts are helping to put more money in people's pockets, also showing support for Republican Senate and House candidates ahead of the midterms when Democrats say voters will reject Trump policies. The U.S. economy not doing as well at the end of last year as first thought, growing at 0.7%. That's half the initial Commerce Department estimate for GDP. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer calls yesterday's car-ramming synagogue attack hate.
This is targeting babies who are Jewish. That's anti-Semitism at its absolute worst.
The suspect who was killed was a Lebanese national who had U.S. citizenship and reportedly lost family members recently in Lebanon in an Israeli airstrike, but a motive is still under investigation. America is listening to Fox News.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion? That's billion with a B? Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words Micro. That's pound 250, Micro.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Partly to mostly sunny skies going through our Friday afternoon, 63. Tonight, partly cloudy, 38. Saturday, partly sunny, breezy, 66 degrees. Sunday, rain and some thunderstorms, windy and 69, and then a rapid drop in temperature early Sunday night. Throughout the night, we've got rain, wet snow, and then all snow, maybe even some thunder, 22 degrees. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
Left up, left right, gotta love this American ride.
And you need to take some time to get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
It's a good thing we didn't have Bill O'Reilly on at 2:05. Can you imagine?
We've had real guests on at 2:05 who've heard that. And every time it happens, I'm like, ooh, this is a little weird.
Or we have clients in to play X's and O's or something like that.
That too.
Yeah, sorry. This is a professional establishment you've partnered with.
Yeah.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
Although I just do that stuff anyway.
Real quick, I don't want to take the whole segment up talking about this, but if you like the Ryan Wiggins version of that intro, I think it's important to know that before Ryan Wiggins was on this show, he was the executive producer for like 3 weeks or something for the Dave Glover show, which used to be on, of course, 97.1, picked up right where we left off at 3. And was this your first day on the air?
No,
as the executive,
but it was pretty early. It was
producer?
a total of 5 months that I was on that show, and this was probably month 1.
Was this the first thing you did for the show or something? Production?
It was up there.
I get done. The switch over between my show and the Dave Glover show at 3 when he was still on, and now my show and Mark Reardon's show at 3. It's a very fast. I mean, I get done here at 2:57. And Reardon or Glover would start at like 3:04, maybe. So we have 7 minutes for us to get all the way out of there and for them to get all the way in. I mean, I'm on my way out, so I'm just collecting things and getting out. But you got to get settled. You got to make sure all your things are ready to go. So for the incoming show, the faster we can get out, the better for them. And I would take my stuff out, and I would go, and when Ryan was the executive producer for the Dave Glover show for 5 months early on, I got all my stuff and I would go sit in Jeff's office at the time as my program director. And we go sit in there. And I remember Jeff saying, he's like, Ryan did something for the Glover show today. I want to listen to this. Because usually we would have a post-game meeting most days after the show. And he's like, hold on a second. So we're sitting in his room. We put us on hold and he turns up his radio. And Ryan Wiggins on the Dave Glover show comes on and says, I made you guys an intro. And is it correct that they had no idea what you had done?
They had no clue. They had never heard it. They knew nothing. I just told them I'm making a show intro.
You said, I remember you saying something like, I was talking with Jeff and you said, the show doesn't have an intro. Maybe you need to have something that's catchy, that kind of is a signature piece. So I put something together for you. And it was that. It was my intro with Ryan singing the whole thing from your shower or something like that. I don't know what you were doing.
You don't want to know.
I don't. And I'm sitting in Jeff's office. Katie was there at the time. And I had my hands on my face going, what is he doing? I'm like, Dave's going to be so pissed at me. Sorry, it's a bad word. And I couldn't. I was so embarrassed. And Ryan was not. You
no.
were so proud of yourself.
Yeah, it was great. It was great radio. And Dave just had to roll with it, which is great because none of them knew.
Because Ryan was running the board.
And the other funny thing,
charge.
so I've never heard your perspective of that. I didn't know any of that.
I knew not. Nobody knew anything of it.
The other thing is that I did not really know you at that time.
No.
I mean, I had
taking
walked
liberties
by you.
even then.
Yeah, we had probably been introduced, but I didn't know you, and I just thought your open was iconic enough that if I tinkered with it,
You didn't tinker with it. You verbatim redid it, but with your voice.
but at the end, the difference was at the end of it. Now it says the Annie Fry Show. That version said the Dave Glover Show.
And a little bit of trivia about our show, which as of June of this year, the Annie Fry Show will have officially existed for 10 years, which blows my mind. Give me that bell. I fixed it last time. I'll fix it again. Uh-oh. Don't break it. More. That I think that Rachel Zimmerman, who is on the Dave Glover Show now, was the executive producer at the Dave Glover Show. Incredible producer. She was my executive producer from the start on Saturdays, and I think it was for like 4 weeks tops that she was the executive producer of my weekend show. And then the EP position opened up on the Dave Glover Show, and they were like, we want Rachel. And then they took her because that's what you do to Saturday show producers. That's how that goes. That was back when Saturday shows had hosts and producers. Yeah.
Now we do not.
Now Wiggins America is a one-man show. Yeah.
That's funny, too, because I did not know that at the time. I know now that Rachel made that open.
Yeah.
And when I made the parody of it, I did not know that Rachel had made it.
And you learned that then.
Did
air.
I? Did she say that?
Probably.
Okay.
She did make that.
I don't remember after that.
Yeah, it was iconic. And then Steve, our boss now, who's great, love working for Steve. He's like, your open's too long. You need to shorten it. It's like, oh. So you get the full thing on Fridays at 2, but not the real version. You get the Ryan version.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We were talking a little bit off the air about the Illinois primary, and this is not something I plan to talk about. And I've had a lot of people, we have guests on the show running for governor, running for Senate. You're hearing a lot of ads on our station here locally of people running for local offices. And I don't really endorse candidates, especially in a primary. I find it to be divisive, maybe unnecessarily so, because it's a tough thing, because you take all the people who are normally all moving in the same direction, trying to participate in the same lift. So the more the merrier, the further you can progress. And I've just gotten quite a few text messages, had a lot of conversations from people asking about the Illinois primary. Tuesday is primary day in the state of Illinois, and you can go vote right now. You'll be able to vote all weekend. Voting is open 40 days in advance in the state of Illinois. That's the name of the game. So if you want to go cast your ballot today, if you want to cast it this weekend, you will be able to do that. Find your polling place. I am very hesitant to endorse candidates because I really wish in the primary process that more people would. I feel like people complain after the primary when they haven't participated in selecting the candidates.
100%.
And it's frustrating to me, and I don't want to see people complaining about things because they just took my word for it, and then they're like, why, blah, blah, blah. So to me, I'm like, do the research, and then we all know who to rally behind after the primary is over, and you have your horse. But I'm getting a lot of asks about two particular races. One is the Illinois governor primary. The other is the United States Senate. And the other reason why I hesitate to offer the Annie Fry endorsement is that you can pick one candidate and not inherently hate all of the others. You can know that there are good people who are running for particular offices where you think one is a better choice than the other, but that doesn't preclude the other from being a good choice. And I kind of try to have a a full, there's nowhere else to be with it in the state of Illinois, but to have a full positive, all hands on deck. You got to put everything you have, all the resources towards one effort, because we don't have the luxury of, say, like at the state of Missouri, where you just have all of these qualified Republicans who want to run, and you can pick from them, and whoever you get's going to be better than the Democrat in the general, and the Republican's going to win. So the real election actually occurs in the primary, it feels like, in Missouri. That's not the way it does in the state of Illinois. I said this show has been on the air as of June of 2026 for 10 years. And this is combining my experience of being here on the air and also the amount of time that I've spent covering Illinois politics, crazily, in a market where we're maybe 40% Illinois. It's a larger Missouri audience, but not by a lot. That I really attribute one of the reasons why I have been able to cut through in this particular market is because I'm pretty much the only one who's reliably talking with some regularity about Illinois politics, knowing that everybody in Illinois listens to St. Louis media. You watch St. Louis news, everybody in the listening area here. In southwestern Illinois, like, it's a St. Louis market. The St. Louis market includes a lot of Illinois residents, Illinois taxpayers, Illinois votes. And I'm one of those people, and you never hear anyone talking about it. We'll go super in depth on, Missouri primaries and what's going on in Jefferson City and all of these things that are in depth about Missouri, which is good. No disparaging of that. But when I hear that stuff, it has nothing to do with me. And when I'm doing Saturday shows in 2016 and 2017, with this show coming on the air in middays in April of 2018, there was just not many other people out there that were representing the Illinois voter. And so I did it on the weekend show, and then I would be guests on the 97.1 weekday shows, and I would often talk about Illinois. So I'm getting requests from people in my life like, who do you got? And so I'm going to offer you right now something that I wouldn't normally offer, but I'm going to do it in a way that makes me feel good about talking about it. So this is the disclaimer is more for me, I guess, than it is for you. I'm going to tell you who I'm going to vote for. I'm not really endorsing a candidate. I'm not really asking you specifically, like, I don't want to say this in a way that makes, again, this is really just for me. I don't want you to vote for someone just because I told you to. I want you to pick the person you're voting for, and I want you to show up, and I want you to weigh in and vote because you see something in that candidate that motivates you to want to participate in the process. I do want to beg you to participate in the process. So I'm going to tell you that I have made choices for governor. I have made a choice for the Senate. I'm not going to really go into other races because they become super hyper local, and they, all three of us in this room have different people to vote for based on counties and districts and stuff. So that becomes too hyper local. But for the people who are looking at the state of Illinois races, I'm telling you, I'm going to vote for Ted Dabrowski in the governor's race. And the main reason why I am picking Ted Dabrowski is because 10 years ago, when I was on Saturdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on 97.1 as a hopeful, somebody who was I was working in radio for 10 years leading into that moment, and I was doing behind-the-scenes digital stuff. I never really dreamt of myself being, this wasn't my hope and my dream, but it has become a fulfillment of a dream that I didn't know I had. 2 hours on a Saturday, you know how hard it is to get people to come on the radio? Saturday at 5:30 or at 6:15 to talk to you about things that matter? It's not easy. You can pre-record interviews. You can do that type of stuff. But do you know who came on my show on Saturdays live regularly between 5 and 7 p.m. to talk about fixing Illinois? Ted Dabrowski did. Ted Dabrowski was working with Illinois Policy Institute, and Ted Dabrowski had the numbers, the hard facts. Not emotional pleas, but just actual facts. And a desire to give his afternoon to what was pretty much a nobody in St. Louis, Missouri, half of my audience not even being in the state. Ted Dabrowski would go anywhere 10 years ago to try to get the message out that Illinois could do better. and that the direction Illinois was going in was not sustainable. And Ted Dabrowski wasn't running for governor then. Ted Dabrowski spent 10 years through various different connections that he had trying to plead with anybody that would listen to look at the numbers, to pay attention to the things that you and I both, that we want to see Illinois reclaim, that we want to see our home, the place where our roots are, where our soil is that we plant our crops in, where our brick and mortar buildings are that we've built our businesses in, where our grandchildren are, where their grandparents are. That is our home. And when people say, why don't you just leave? We've already had those thoughts. We've already done the calculations, and no amount of tax that J.B. Pritzker can manifest into being in a supermajority of Democrats in Springfield can out-prioritize the understanding of family, of roots, of land, of something that we've built in a place that is worth fighting for. And Ted Dabrowski was fighting that fight long before he was asking for your vote. He was just asking for anyone who would listen to pay attention. Even if it meant a handful of people on a Saturday afternoon, early evening on the Annie Fry show, and nobody knows who Annie Fry is. Nobody cares. Ted Dabrowski cared about the state of Illinois then, which is why I believe that he would care about the state of Illinois in a new, impactful way if he were elected governor. I'm voting for Ted Dabrowski. If that inspires you, I want you to learn about him, and I need you to show up and make your voice be heard regardless of who you're going to support. I will tell you, Ted Dabrowski and his team have been working diligently, not just to contact our show, but to come onto our show, to come into our studio. He's worked very hard to do that. I don't know that when we had Darren Bailey in the first time, was that our ask or was that their ask?
I think that was theirs.
Theirs?
Yeah.
Darren Bailey has not been active in pursuing coming on the show. I've done so many events with Darren. I think Darren Bailey is a heart and soul wonderful person. But there has been a retraction of his pursuit to win this primary because I think that the name idea that he has is going to take him across the finish line here in the primary. I just want more fight than that. Darren Bailey was not able to get it across the finish line in Cook County last time. If we wash, rinse, repeat that will be a sad situation. If Darren Bailey wins the primary, I'm all in for Darren Bailey because J.B. Pritzker is an absolute unmitigated disaster for the state of Illinois. And I will do everything I can to try to help him lose in November. But I think Ted Dabrowski is fresh. I know he cares about the right things. I know he's in it for the right reasons. That's why I'm voting for him. And I will also say that I'm interested in both the governor's race and the Senate race for that person who can actually win in November. The Senate race is a much more difficult race to win. The Dick Durbin seat that he is retiring from. My understanding, I think Jeannie Evans is a great candidate. I think Don Tracy is the one who has the backing, and we're talking dollars and cents. And I think Don Tracy has put together a campaign that can take us as far as we possibly can go. I don't know that that is a winnable seat, but I think Don Tracy is the one who's going to give us the best chance of winning. I think Jeannie Evans would be a good candidate as well. And I don't have anything negative to say about her. But I think Don Tracy is the one who has the most assets compiled right now to give us a chance to win. So if you were wondering, that's who I'm voting for. If that's who you're voting for, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. All I would say is get involved, be informed, and talk to people about showing up to vote in the primary. The amount of people who cast their ballots in a primary, it's the biggest impact your vote is going to have because it's always such an incredibly small turnout. If you have more questions about the candidates, message me on the Annie Fry Show Facebook page, and I'll talk to you about it. I just want you to show up and I want you to participate. Not an endorsement, but a bit more information about who I'm voting for. Back in a minute.
Wait,
Corey from Air Comfort Service? What are you doing in my basement?
Standing behind our work.
It's 9 p.m.
At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation, we take pride in our work. If you need heating service, no matter the time of day or night, we're here to help with 24/7 emergency service.
So, you're just going to stand behind my furnace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you hand me those paper towels then?
Absolutely. For heating service or HVAC maintenance, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis, laugh it up with Jimmy Fallon live at the Factory on Saturday, April 11th. From national radio to sold-out comedy clubs, Jimmy delivers fast, fearless stand-up that hits home.
The only ones raising tough kids anymore. The redneck babies are going to take on ISIS. The hipster babies are going to battle the evil forces of gluten. You know what I'm saying?
Grab your friends and get ready for a night of laughs. One show, one night only. Don't miss Jimmy Fallon, April 11th at the Factory. Get your tickets now at thefactorystl.com. That's thefactorystl.com.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower costs than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. That YouTube live chat poll for today. Are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? Yes, it's the least we can do. Or no, it's an outrageous amount of spending. You can text us at 314-241-9797. The Annie Fry Show text line at 314-241-9797. And, of course, vote at youtube.com/@AnnieFry. To over 200 votes in here right now. We want yours as well. So show up, vote, leave a comment. Ripper says on YouTube, whenever I had surf and turf in the Marines, the cooks ruined it anyway. So that's not good.
That's an interesting take.
Andy said, I had lobster multiple times when deployed to Iraq. It felt odd at the time. Like, where's this coming from? At one point in the mid to late 2005, the food over there was good and plentiful. Andy, thank you for your service. And as well, Ripper. Joe said, if the left is the least bit agitated about an issue, then I'm sure it's not an issue. This is just like a principle of the matter.
From the text line, 314-241-9797, here's a few. It says, good afternoon, Annie and Ryan and the gang. I so believe that the troops deserve all the steak and lobster they want. I'm a retired Marine veteran.
Thank you for your service.
This person says, if the people in our military are willing to take a bullet for me, they can have or eat whatever they want.
I just, I'm going to interject here. I'm an emphatic yes, it's the least we can do. It's so crazy to me, the people who are all of a sudden caring about our taxpayer dollars and where they're being spent. I can't take you people seriously. You don't actually care about this. You're just trying to find the next chapter in the I Hate Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth book.
The left does this a lot.
It's
with
super
things
annoying.
They can't find another argument for. They go, well, how much did that cost? And they tried it with the freaking ballroom.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, it's privately funded. Well, people are buying off the president.
Yeah.
Like, there's no argument. And all that stupid spending crap comes to bite them because they don't ever care about spending unless it's something like steak and lobster for troops.
Hernan said, as a military retiree, I recall many Thanksgivings eating MREs or away from home. Yes to steak and lobster. This is Hernan. Hi, Hernan. Thanks for writing. You got another text?
Yeah, this one says, hi, all. I'm a veteran of the Global War on Terrorism campaign, having actively supported OEF and OIF, the occasional surf.
Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation.
What's EF?
Enduring Freedom.
Enduring Freedom. Yeah, good.
Thank you. The occasional surf and turf meal is a morale booster for those of us that are about to be sent to faraway, dangerous places, and thus it does not go to waste.
Tina on YouTube made a comment regarding something I said earlier. She said, regarding the comment, Annie, on spending, if you don't use it, you lose it mentality. I saw this throughout my military career, and it was often wasteful. I thought this was going away. Now, another example of if we offloaded a bunch of budget spending into surf and turf for the troops in order to protect the bottom line budget item, that goes to whatever budget line item this is in, of all of the things we could spend it on, I'm probably most supportive of great food for the troops. If we are going to start caring about
I'm just reading the Chiron on Fox.
Oh, if we are about to, I lost my train of thought. If we're about to start caring about where we fill out our budget, we're going to start with surf and turf for the active duty troops. Take a seat.
Yeah, this commenter says on the text line, this is nothing new in the military, Annie. I deployed several times in the 80s and was given a nice steak meal.
Thank you for your service.
As a send-off.
Mm-hmm. Silk said, howdy, y'all. Steak and lobster for our troops is fine and not a new thing. Only CNN and their ilk are complaining because that is all they do.
Indeed.
314-241-9797 if you want to give us your text thoughts. Go vote on the poll at the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Just type in Annie, F-R-E-Y, into YouTube. You'll see we're broadcasting live. And in that live broadcast, which is there every day, there's a live chat. We love to have newbies come join us. It's a fun community. Got people who believe all the different types of things. It's not all on the right, and we try to keep it respectful. Go vote. Leave a comment. Text us at 314-241-9797. We'll be back in a minute. Home Shield Foundation Repair. Matt Hayes, the owner of his family started right here in St. Louis business, Home Shield Foundation Repair. Foundations can have a lot of different issues, of course. And if you go to their website at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com, you can research if your foundation concern is covered by Home Shield Foundation Repair. I would encourage you to call and just bring it up to Matt Hayes and his crews. They're the best in the business. Missouri and Illinois, you've got somebody who can solve this problem once and for all in Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation Repair. 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. You reach out to them and explain kind of what you're dealing with. They'll come look at it. They'll assess your particular unique situation and tell you exactly how it is that at Home Shield Foundation Repair, they can solve that problem for you. Like I said, they're local people. You can trust them. They're good people, too. 314-271-9900. Online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
What's up, world? It's Von Miller, Super Bowl MVP, chicken farmer, and now host of Free Range. This is a show where I go off the field and off the script. We're talking what's hot in music, film, trending news, and everything blowing up your feed. If you love football, you'll feel at home. But if you're here for the vibes, the internet deep dives, the conversation, this is your podcast. Join me every Wednesday. Follow and listen to Free Range with me, Von Miller, everywhere you get your podcast.
If you're the victim of a car accident or suffered a work injury in St. Louis, you want attorneys who live here and work here to handle your case. You want someone who knows St. Louis and is about St. Louis. You want Kaufman Townsley. Call 314-777-7777.
Conservative outside. Evans will always be tough on crime. She'll hold China accountable for trafficking fentanyl and stealing our personal data. Jeannie Evans puts America first. A proven fighter. Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate.
I'm Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Illinois.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
So this is your opportunity to see Jimmy Fallon for free. It's your last one for this show for this week. Mark Reardon will have one more pair to give away. But right now, call in 314-241-9797 if you'd like to go see Jimmy Fallon at the Factory on April 11th. He is coming to town, and it should be a lot of fun. Win a pair of free tickets by being the 10th caller at 314-241-9797. It is 2:35. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Freedom has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Next question.
Question.
It's a legitimate question.
Next question. Next question, please.
Next question on the Annie Fry Show.
All right, Ryan, you said you had one?
This is actually a question from a listener from the text line we're going to start with here. It says, so, since Annie is now telling people who to vote for, will you give equal time to other candidates?
Oh, like which ones?
I don't know the answer.
Well, Darren Bailey's been on this show a billion times.
Right.
I've done a lot of events with him. I would gladly cast my vote for Darren Bailey for governor against J.B. Pritzker. No problem with that. A couple comments here on the YouTube live chat kind of regarding I'm not telling you who to vote for. I told you, and I said this, and I disclaimed it, and it doesn't mean anything to some people, and I can't control that, so I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to vote for Ted Dabrowski for the governor. I think he is the guy who gives us the best opportunity to win against J.B. Pritzker. Obviously, if Darren Bailey wins the primary, then Darren Bailey is the best opportunity at that point to beat J.B. Pritzker, and I'm all in. Let's see here. Someone said that I did a great disservice to MAGA by saying that. That's ridiculous. I will read that comment on air. It's Steven says, like you, Annie, but you did MAGA a huge disservice here. Sad. There is nobody. Donald Trump has not endorsed anybody in this race. Donald Trump has not participated in any of the discussions about the Illinois race. I know that there are images of Darren Bailey and Donald Trump together, but Donald Trump has not issued an endorsement in the governor race. And I am pretty certain that due to his run the last time, that if Donald Trump wanted to endorse Darren Bailey, he would have, and he hasn't. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't like Darren Bailey, but I get to decide who I want to vote for, and I don't know that you, Stephen, are actually the person who gets to disperse and rescind MAGA cards. So I've been paying attention to Illinois politics for a really long time, and I am very confident that Ted Dabrowski, in my opinion, is the best opportunity for Illinois to get Doge, he knows the meticulous spreadsheets and numbers and has been sharing them with me specifically for 10 years on this show. Also, somebody said Ted is buying advertising on my show. I have made $0 from any candidate, and I would never take $1 to tell anybody to vote for anybody. So I am not compensated in any way, shape, or form to tell you who I'm voting for. And again, I'm not telling you who you should vote for. I'm telling you who I should vote for. And then Brad can confirm this. Ryan, you've been around the block for quite some time. People come to us when it comes to primaries. I don't go out and fish people out of the primary water because, and I know that this has ticked some people off over the course of time that I don't do this the same way. I believe in a primary that our audience is one of the most valuable audiences in Illinois primary politics because obviously Chicago is the thing, but a primary is a turnout election. And if somebody is not going to come ask to be on our show who's running in a primary, I think that they're not doing their job. And if they're not working hard enough to get on this show, then I'm not going to do them a favor and platform them when they haven't come to me to say, we'd like to be on your show. Now, if you come ask to be on the show and you're an actual viable candidate, you're going to be on the show. We had one, I can't remember his name, and I don't even care to remember it because he's not on the ballot. And I had somebody on who was saying that they were going to run for governor, and we had him on, and I got a lot of crap for it because people were saying they're not an actual reasonable candidate. And I had him on because he was in hot pursuit to get on the show. And I gave him a fair interview. So I think I've been incredibly fair. And the truth of the matter is Darren Bailey, who has my personal cell phone number, has not asked to be on the show since months ago, right after he announced. So Ted Dabrowski has hustled, and I am grateful for it. Jeannie Evans asked to be on the show this week. We had her on the day after we had Don Tracy on. So to the texter, I think I've been very fair. You do have the right to disagree with me, but I think I've been fair. Any other questions over there?
One random question. This is from me, though. Debates? Are they having debates?
Well, that's another thing. I'm glad you asked that. There have been a lot of debates that have happened across the state, specifically in Chicago. What's the big station in Chicago that slips my mind that the Cubs used to play on?
WGN.
WGN, yeah. I think they were having a debate, and Darren Bailey backed out of them. And a lot of the other candidates that are working to win the primary went on with the debates, but for whatever particular reason, Darren Bailey hasn't. So I'm a Darren Bailey fan if he wins the primary, but I get a primary vote, and Ted Dabrowski has earned mine. Maybe he hasn't earned yours, but he has earned mine. Next question, Brad, you got one?
Yeah, well, today is Friday the 13th, and I just wanted to find out if you guys had any superstitions. And this could be like big, huge superstitions about like not wearing white after Labor Day. I don't know if that's superstition or etiquette, but
well, I guess it could be.
But like, or even like with sports wise, like, did you have any superstitions when you played sports or anything like that?
No.
I'm trying to think. It seems like I would have when I was younger. I would have told myself that I didn't. But things like stepping on the chalk line in baseball, I don't know why. It's just I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a superstition, but it was just like decorum or something that I would. And not that I played a lot of baseball either. I just remember thinking, I'm not going to step on the chalk line. And then I learned that was a thing.
I never stepped on the baseline. I would never take 2 feet out of the batter's box unless it was for like an injury or something like that. If I had to step out of the batter's box, I only did 1 foot and made sure the umpire gave me time. The way I held my bat, I was very superstitious about the way I held my bat. The label had to be up, and a certain part, because I knew that
Did it
part.
help?
Well, I thought that part of the bat hit the ball better, but when I made contact, it seemed like it flew better whenever I would do that. But I don't know if it helped or not. I never did a scientific study. I was just like,
I always did the same thing when I'd shoot free throws, but that's just it wasn't superstition. It was just repetition.
Yeah, consistency.
Next question. You got one?
I do. Have you ever been in or on vacation in an RV?
Yeah.
Have you?
I won't name names, but when I was coaching volleyball 15 years ago or something like that, one of the girls who played on our team had a very wealthy and successful father locally, and he had RV doesn't quite do the trick.
Deluxe?
My understanding was, what I was told, and I have no reason to believe this isn't true, is that our driver was also Kid Rock's driver.
Wow.
But we would go to like Christ Lutheran School in Peoria for a big volleyball tournament, and they would take that sucker up there, and that's where we would all hang out for that. I don't think I've ever like been in like a camper. That ain't my style. The version that I would want to do is so expensive, I should just get a nice hotel room. So
you?
Oh yeah. Summers all the time. My grandpa always had an RV. We would go watch races in Kansas or in Georgia or whatever, and we'd just park in the parking lot and sleep overnight in the RV. My uncle, whenever we go on fishing trips, he had an RV. We would go tow the boat out there, drop it in the water, sleep overnight, fishing the next day, then go home or whatever it would be. So yeah, lots of time in RVs.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous because I've never done it.
Let's take a quick break. We'll take more of your questions as well. You can text them at 314-241-9797. More next question, next segment, our Ask Us Anything opportunity here to wrap up a Friday show. A reminder, the Mark Reardon Show is at a fish fry. Do we know where this one is? We'll find out and give it to you when we come back. They are set up and ready to go. Another Fish Fry Friday for the Mark Reardon Show. And a little more Ask Us Anything right around the corner. Don't go away. Stewart's American Mortgage. Stewie's the Bagel Loan guy, and he is the phone number, the text message you're waiting to send to really improve that position that you have with your mortgage. A brand new mortgage from Stewie. You can call 314-324-4440. You can text him there as well. You thinking about refinancing, lowering your mortgage rate, taking some equity out of your home with a cash out refinance? All available with a Bagel Loan. You just got to call him and get the process started. He can close this sucker in less than 2 weeks, which means you could be on your way to a much better financial position with your mortgage with that one phone call to Stewart's American Mortgage. The Bagel Loan is special because it's that new mortgage. It's that refinance mortgage that comes with no dollars in closing costs. You don't have to pay anything. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. You can call Stewie. You can text Stewie at that number and tell him Annie sent you. He'll be glad to hear about it. You can Google the Bagel Loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
The Illinois primary. This is where your vote matters more than ever because it's where turnout determines which candidate gets to the ballot in November. Vote this Tuesday. It's for our Illinois residents at 97.1 FM Talk. Visit 971talk.com/events to find where to vote near you.
I'm Ted Dabrowski. I'm running for governor to breathe new life into our party and improve the quality of life in our state. Let's be honest about how we defeat Pritzker. Victory runs through the suburbs, and Darren Bailey is a disaster in the suburbs. To renominate him is to concede defeat. It's why Pritzker wanted to run against him 4 years ago and wants to again. Do you really want to experience these headlines again?
Governor J.B. Pritzker will serve another 4 years in office.
This was a resounding victory for Governor Pritzker.
The race was called just minutes after the polls closed.
Pritzker had a sizable advantage in Chicago and its suburbs.
I am the only candidate who can win the suburbs and end Pritzker's reign. It's why leading pro-lifers, American firsters, and conservative reformers support me. Republicans should always nominate the most conservative candidate who can win. That's me.
I'm Ted Dabrowski, your conservative candidate for governor, and I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary on March 17th.
Paid for by Ted for Illinois.
If you live in Missouri, have Medicaid, and need a caregiver, this message is important. Care at home is personal. That's why you may not want a stranger in your home to take care of you. You want someone who already knows you and your daily routines. With Freedom Care, you choose a trusted family member, a friend, or a neighbor. They will get paid after every shift to care for you, and it's 100% free to you. More than 70,000 people have already joined the Freedom Care family. Call your local Freedom Care. They'll check your Medicaid eligibility. Don't wait until a stranger shows up at your door. If you have Medicaid and need help at home, this care is available 100% free to you. Call Freedom Care now to see if you qualify. 314-343-1362. 314-343-1362. That's 314-343-1362.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
I got a question for us here on Next Question. Ask us anything. You can text us. You got to hurry, though. 314-241-9797. What's your favorite hymn?
This is a good one.
Okay.
Talk through it. Sing them. Rockmouth.
Gosh, I can't think of
You
the
know, Brad?
name.
Yeah, the one that pops into my mind immediately is I'll Fly Away, which is a really upbeat Southern gospel type hymn. And we used to, when I was in college, I would run sound for a traveling group of singers, and it was 4 girls, and we had like a cello and a guitar and all that stuff. And they would start playing it. It just sounded so good. So that was my favorite.
Okay, nuanced answer, because Amazing Grace is probably the most obvious, but it's hard to say. It's like so ubiquitous that it's hard to say that's my favorite. I would pick How Great Thou Art. That's the one I was trying to find. However, the one that gets stuck in my head the most is Holy, Holy, Holy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those are both good. How Great Thou Art tops #1, without a doubt. I can still hear my grandpa singing How Great Thou Art, like kind of bellowy grandpa-esque type of singing, like when we sing it. I think hymns, I can be in church and I can be in worship, and I'm Lutheran, so it's tame. It's not a very, like, Lutherans don't, and I say this, and this is going to mean something to a lot of you. It's going to mean nothing to most of you, but I'm an LCMS Lutheran. ELCA, different animal. But we're not, generally speaking, clappers or, hands in the air or whatever. But like How Great Thou Art is one of those songs that I can't actually sing it because I become weepy singing it. And then the other one, which is what I had to take my headphones off because I was trying to sing it to myself. When darkness and fills war, whatever my Lord has called it is well with my soul. I had to get to the end. Yeah. Yep. It is well with my soul. That's another one where I just sit there, and I mean, I can be in a completely wonderful, happy mood, and I've in my old age of 41 have kind of just been like, I guess maybe it's just the spirit within me, but I don't know why it makes me cry. I don't know why the emotion sets in such an impactful way that I can't contain it, because I would much rather sit in church and just reflect upon a song and just have that moment to myself. You guys know how outwardly emotional I like to be, but I just can't contain it.
That's probably why these hymns in particular have endured for so long.
I wonder if the other one is, the third one would be Jesus Paid It All. And I don't know if that's, I'm sure a lot of people would consider that a hymn. But it's an incredible song. Jesus Paid It All. If you haven't heard the Fernando Ortega version, listen to that. But my dad sang that song at all of my children's baptisms.
That's cool.
So that's another one where I just crumble into a mess. If you see me and that song is playing, I'll be fine by the time that we're on to the next song.
There's something very, very powerful about the old hymns.
Oh, Come All Ye Faithful is another one. When it gets to, when you talk about sing choirs of angels. I don't want to do it now. Sing in exultation, oh, sing all ye citizens of heaven above. I'm like, I know those people. Like, citizens of heaven, I know those people. I will be that person, and I will be with the citizens of heaven. Like, to think about being a citizen of heaven, that's just, to me, it's mind-blowing every time I hear it, and it chokes me up. Man. I don't know why I like things that make me cry.
Holy, holy, holy. I used to sing, that would be in my head all the time when I was a newer Christian in my 20s. I haven't sang it in a while.
That's a good one. That's an old one. Next question. You guys got another one?
Brad?
Well,
I do, if you don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This is stupid, but I really want to know the answer. I was thinking about this yesterday morning, and I'm writing that down.
43.
No.
Okay. It's my favorite number.
In the dishwasher, when you load your utensils, do you load them
Wrong? Yes, that's why Jared does it.
handle down or handle up?
Well, I don't know what the right... I don't load the dishwasher. I will wash all the dishes in the sink before I will load the dishwasher. We just had to replace our dishwasher because our children do not rinse off the dishes before they load the dishwasher. So now it is a Jared only loads the dishwasher situation. But I am of the belief that you should put them down because I don't want their grubby hands touching all the places where go into your mouth when they take them out and put them away. So.
Okay.
So this is weird. I think I put the sharp ones down, like knives, forks.
But all others up?
I don't think about it with the spoons, but knives and forks, I always have them pointing down.
Okay.
Because I don't want anybody to cut themselves.
Thank you.
Loading the dishwasher.
Because I know people who are face up all the time, and I don't really understand
Do you and your
why.
wife disagree on this?
She doesn't pay attention, kind of like Brad. She just kind of throws them in there and doesn't think about it. Whereas I'm deliberately putting them face down, handle up every single time. Because that's how you also, it's easiest to load, it's easiest to unload. You can grab a whole bunch all at once.
I just don't want people's hands on things that go in my mouth.
On the part that you're eating.
Yeah.
Which also makes sense.
Brad, next question.
Yeah, let's go with this one. If you could pick, would you rather have your own show on Fox News or be part of an ensemble show like an Outnumbered or The Five?
Brian?
I'd probably have my own show on Fox News, and it would be a crazy carnival of some news, but also some hilarious things like a grand prize game with Bozo.
Okay. You know when Fox Nation Gutfeld did a game show?
No.
It was like where they locked people in a house for 30 or 60 days.
Oh, I do remember that.
I never watched it, but it was essentially cutting people off and seeing how it affected them.
Yeah.
For $72 or something. I remember hearing the prize money and being like, that's probably not worth it.
I'm not going to do that kind of show.
I would say I'd rather have my own show. I don't know why I'd prefer to be on an ensemble show.
What would your show be like?
This one.
Give us the name of some segment on your show.
Annie, are you okay?
Oh.
With taxes?
So
No,
we do
I'm
a
not.
little goofy on there, too.
Yeah. Brad, what about you?
I think I'd like to be part of an ensemble. I don't know that I would want to do the whole show by myself.
All right, the YouTube live chat poll. Are you in favor of serving our troops steak and lobster? Ryan, yes, it's the least we can do, or no, it's outrageous spending?
Of course it's yes.
Brad?
It's an obvious yes.
I am saying as well. Obvious yes. I don't even like lobster, but serve it up for the troops and make them their tummies feel full. And if it is a morale booster, good grief. Yes, do it. 238 votes today on a Friday afternoon, and 93% of you shockingly say yes, it's the least we can do. Grateful for all of your participation here on a Friday. And keep it here because Mark Reardon at the Fish Fry on location. Go check him out. Stream us live on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Keep it here on 97.1 FM Talk. We're so glad to be with you. Don't go away.
So beat the drum with me.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Ethos.
If you want an employee to stick around for a long time, give them plenty of time to recharge. Rick Cobb, founder of the workplace consulting firm To Discern, says some companies are offering sabbaticals as an employee incentive. He says it's cheaper than hiring someone new.
When you look at the cost of a sabbatical, which is around $5,000 to $10,000, it's not that big a risk.
Cobb says 20% of sabbaticals are taken by younger workers. I'm Rob Hart.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on